Oh, behave.
Yes, we will blame Twitch for the buttons. Hello? Hello. Everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to the start of another week. Yes, that day that we all wake up and say, you know, I It's grand, it's grand. We shall start in flying form, friends, as tonight we continue with our ATC course, the FAA transition, no less. And tonight we've a bit of flying. We're going to recap on last week. That's doing our pattern work, the VFR pattern, closed, traffic approved, right? And then we're going to move on to the VFR 2, all part of the WINGS from Boston Virtual ARTCC. And that's going to see us fly from Nantucket over to a place called Quonset. It's over that neck of the woods anyway. It's going to be lovely. So I do hope you're all keeping well. Hope you had a great weekend. We did some heli flying yesterday, right? Oh, loads of stuff. I got this in the post today, look. It's now, it's not branded yet, right? But you know the way... It's a microphone holder. It's a quite bit of ingenious bit of equipment, this. You know, I put my microphone into the microphone and then it becomes, you've guessed it, a bit of plastic. But that was supposed to come on Thursday, but it came today. So I'm happy out. So I get to do some, the audio cuts in and out. Is the stream having some serious stutters, or just me? Northland Air, hit an owl reset-a-roo, refresh the devil. Hopefully now we'll get an owl audio-visual 5x5. Let us know what it is, lads, because I had to stop OBS mid-flight as it was, because it was giving me 99% CPU usage. I said, what the deuce? So I pressed a button, turned it off, and turned it back on again. IT technical support is strong in this one. Yes. So it seems to be good on Twitch. So if there's someone on YouTube who can verify and maybe just try a refresh of the gadget, that should work. Do you know? But anyway, as we continue on with this course, there's quite a bit to it. But at the same time, there's not a lot to it, right? I mean, we've done a lot of the IF4 and VF4 stuff already, mainly in Europe, primarily in Ireland. And, what we've learned there, we just transition it over to the FAA. Predominantly, we're flying in the United States. And from the theory side of the house, yes, we have our ground school document. This is available for free over on the Two Tone Murphy website, twotonemurphy.com. For all the other flights that we're doing and the practical side of the house, well, that's all thanks to the Boston Virtual ARTCC. And what they've provided is their WINGS course. Some 30 flights from 0 to hero, or you can just do bits and bobs when you want to. And it gives you the option to fly it when you want to, rather than trying to be making it to each and every stream, right? So, hang on there now. Dave Cleary says all is good. Northland Air says strange. Maybe just give it an owl reset, turn off the browser, turn it back on. I had that success most recently in my life, right? But what I'm using tonight, friends, as he reached forward into that imaginary place that you can't see, well, you can if I do that, look. I had it over here. Right? It's not magic, but sure, listen. What we have here, right? This is my clipboard, my flying clipboard. But what I want to show you, friends, is the following. So, I have one of these, look. And the exposure. These are available over on the store. Jesus, Murph, get the old exposure, man. The white balance is freaking out. There, you can kind of see it. But basically what this is, it's the clearance checklist. Now, it's designed more so for IF4 stuff, but we can help use, this can help us use it for tonight. Or failing that, a blank bit of paper will do the job. And the reason why we need somewhere to write down, well, we're going to be getting instructions from ATC. We'll get various altitude. Perhaps we'll get the weather, we'll get taxi instructions, we'll get a whole lot of information. And although, it's fairly straightforward, it's quite repetitive, it's quite, what's the word I'm looking for? You know what they're going to say, right? To an extent. You'd be amazed then how easy it is to forget because you're flying. I mean, you've got to control the aircraft, you're navigating, aviate, navigating, all the jazz. The communication part tends to throw an awful lot of people off. Funny enough, and it's when you think about it, I mean, flying is the hard bit. Navigating arguably can be harder, but the communication, we all communicate, no one taught you how to say, hey, can I have one of them, please? We have to follow a bit of procedure when it comes to talking to air traffic control. And here's an interesting factoid now, if you ever look into, marching, why do soldiers march? Why are they trained to march? Now, any vets out there, well, they'll tell us what the crack is. But why would you train a soldier how to march? because it looks good, Murphy. It does. But there's also a very logical reason behind it. The whole idea behind marching is to move a body or a group of bodies from point to point in the fastest way possible. Hence, you have what was called close order foot drill, and then you have the screed, what they say, and all these various commands like attention, left, turn. It's all done with timings. But the point that I'm making is it's a very efficient way of getting things done, this kind of unique language. Well, in ATC, they have something similar. We have to follow a type of communication pattern. We have to say certain things. We have to listen out for certain things. And ATC do the very, very same. It's all about making the conversation extremely efficient, just like our intros here on the live stream. You see, it's all very right and brilliant. So what we're doing tonight, now, these are available from SayIntentions. I was chatting to Brian earlier, and he sent me on a truckload of these. So I'll be giving these away over the coming days and weeks, and we'll just do giveaways. But basically what they are, they're from SayIntentions, and they are little cheat sheets, friends. VFR, US VFR, and also US IFR, just one of each, right? And I have, I think I've 30 or so, but I'm going to be doing giveaways for these, so keep your eyes on Discord. Make sure you're already over on Discord, ! Discord, follow the link, and make sure you're registered up. And basically what they are, well, you might be able to see them if the light isn't too bright. It's just a little cheat sheet of the things to say and when to say it. Very handy. Now, these, of course, are in the ground school document that we have, but it's nice having small things. Oh, what do I say and how do I say it? That's kind of where we're at, you know. And Cyrus T, who may or may not be here, but there's great news coming down the line for him when it comes to SayIntentions. But they've been flat out busy. Now, as I said, chatting to Brian, they fixed a few bobs from last week, and I'm testing them out again, 100%. No issues from what I heard. But I think the plan tonight, friends, is we should have some ATC available coming through from the Boston ARTCC. So I'm looking forward to this. We'll be logged in on VATSIM to see how we go. So it's a recap on last week, right? We're going to do our pattern flights, and then we're going to get into the new flight for tonight, which is going to be navigation and also flight following, right? Now, navigation, it sounds fairly straightforward, but when we kind of add that to what we were learning last week for all the, you know, the different airspaces and all this, right? And how we can kind of, how do we read a VFR sectional chart, or any chart for that matter? We're going to spend a bit of time planning our flight because that's where the navigation comes in. Make life very easy. We plan hard and fly easy. That's the idea. We'll put loads of planning in there. So when it comes to the flight, we've multiple options, and we're relatively comfortable with any option that comes our path, right? That's the idea. So we'll spend a bit of time on that, and then we're going to be chatting about flight following. Now, has anyone heard that before? Does anyone know what flight following is? In Europe, we don't have that phraseology. We have a similar service, but it's not called flight following. So has anyone ever heard of it, or does anyone know what it is, right? What is flight following? I'm going to follow you. Follow me. I'm not your man who says he's delicious, right? That kind of crack. So we're going to look into it. When we can request it, how do we request it, and then, well, how do we close it, right? I mean, there's certain times you no longer need flight following, so you'd have to put in, hey, cancel flight following, right? So we're going to learn all about it. So it's going to be grand. It's a busy night. I'm telling you, lads, it's going to be flat out busy. So knuckle down now, lads. Knuckle down and pull out the biro, and we'll get going here now in just a couple of moments. Where the flight is, or the clue is in the name. It is. Cyrus, if you missed what I said, remember the thing about the yoke? Well, I've done two things. First of all, I've put all my add-ons directly into the community folder, right? That's the first bit done. The second bit done, the thing that you're looking for might be on the way. Would you believe it? So let's see what happens there. But anyway, lads, it's been a wild weekend. Monday here in Ireland, the weather has been absolutely gorgeous. It's cold at night, but it was nice during the day. We'd like 17, 18 degrees today. Beautiful blue skies. And, well, that was outside. We're back inside now. Yes. And what did I do? Did I do anything stupid today? I think today was a relatively not a stupid thing done. Too bad. Yes. You know, I'm certain of it. I didn't do anything too stupid today. Mr. Two-Tone had to get a tooth pulled out. Now, anyone who doesn't like the dentists, clearly I don't like the dentist, right? I have teeth going all over. I have two things I dislike: spiders and dentists. And if I ever walk into a dentist that's a spider dentist, I'll I won't come back, right? But anyway, Mr. Two-Tone was in the dentist today, and Jesus, the stories, mother of God. So they had to go in at all sorts of different angles. She got an extraction, you know, but it wasn't straightforward as pulling out the tooth. No, the dentist had a bit of crack with this one. So she's up there trying to, deal with that. God love her, she had a tooth pulled out. So her heart goes out to her, but she's grand, you know, she's all right. But she was through the absolute throes of it today, you know. So thoughts and warmness and I'm a great who's band thoughts are with her, right? You know, and you're the same, I'm sure of it, lads, you know. And that's kind of where we're at. So as I said, we did a bit of flying yesterday, Saturday, quite productive, and we had a mad week last week. It was some crack. We had Captain Sickbag's flight on Friday night. That was a howl a minute. And this week we're flat out busy because we have this tonight. We're trucking tomorrow. The news on Wednesday with some hardware. This gadget, look. The Stream Deck Plus. We're going to be playing with this thing and showing you what I use them for, right? And then Thursday we're doing nothing. And then on Friday, we have a group flight in the TBM 850 in Florida. And then Saturday, friends, the flight of the Bremen. Yes, our 5th anniversary, the 97th anniversary of the actual flight. That's kicking off on Saturday, 1700 Zulu. And there's an absolute truckload of giveaways. I mean, now there's giveaways on top of giveaways wrapped up in even more giveaways. There's a ton of stuff. We're up to like 30 giveaways. Anything ranging from, like, you know, a gift voucher to aircraft, to some very good aircraft, right? There's an A350 in there. There's a lot of cool stuff happening. So, that's going to be next Saturday. So we're flat out, you know. So with that said, we'll ease our way into this evening. You know, however mad your day was, it's grand. For the next few hours, forget about that strange thing we call the real world. Not at all. Now it's all about us. As we try and learn something, maybe you've done this before, right? And you're freshening up in it. And by all means, if you know the story, well, share the knowledge. I mean, it's not a case that I didn't write the book. So if you see stuff or if you're able to help out, I'm all for that. This is a huge community effort. We've done this with all the other courses that we've done. And it's amazing in Flight Sim because you have multiple communities, you have multiple people, and then you have like the bigger organizations. They're all enthusiastic about this. Do you know, they're all really looking forward and motivated to get more people up and running and flying. That's only part of it. The other part of it then is actually to us as flight sim enthusiasts. I mean, you know, these new sims changed our lives probably back in 2020. And ever since then, we've learned a lot. Do you know, I'm not going to fly this thing at all. Or it's like I could only fly small aircraft. Or when it comes to flight sim, I was only able to do the large aircraft. And now they've discovered this entire world of general aviation. Do you know?
You're going a bit mad there.
We're going mad. And it's kind of mad when you think about it. See what it is, right? What's mad about it is general aviation flying is very, very complex. If anyone has the attitude, it's only a small, simple little plane. Yeah, well, of course it is. So is an airliner when you use autopilot. There's way more stuff you got to consider when you're flying VFR conditions with your general aviation aircraft, right? Beat the Janie Mac! Grizzle, you devil! Ladies and gentlemen, we've just been raided with a raid of raiders. Grizzle, thank you very much indeed, man. Hope you're well. This is right up your neck of the woods, ATC.
Can I get a refund?
Shag off, there's no refunds. Now, I can tell you, I'm not an ATC controller, far from it. But what I can tell you, I listen. And sometimes I'm able to repeat what's said. And even sometimes I'm slightly accurate or, almost accurate. That'll almost accurate will do. Grizzle, of course, who does some ATC controlling himself in friggin' Dubai of all places, right? I mean, that's traffic load is mad. But the point I'm making is it doesn't matter what type of aircraft you're flying. It's all about kind of expanding your hobby, right? I mean, flying, just hop on the plane, go for a blast and check out the scenery. Well, that's awesome. We know it is. But for some of you, there's an itch, you want to learn something more. And like, hey, can I add in, ATC? Be it coming from an AI solution or, you want to talk with someone on VATSIM or you want to turn up the crank and say, no, I want to try Pilot Edge. There's all these different ways that we can enhance our flight sim. Same goes for hardware. I mean, I have a motion rig from DOF Reality, the VR headset. Now, it's not to say you're going to use those exclusively, but isn't it amazing when you think about it? Our hobby has so many options now, from all the aircraft, all the scenery, all the different types of flying that we have. I mean, we've got missions and everything coming into the thing. So it's quite mad. So, yes, that's the introduction. It almost started. Now, a quick roundup of who come into the house there now as I left the door open. Happy Monday, you're all very welcome in. Fierce Wolf, looking fierce and wolfy. You're looking well. Naughty Gnome is here. Good to see you, man. I didn't get the watch yet, Naughty. I still reckon this smartwatch, although it's about as smart now as, you know, as an ashtray on a motorbike, but it's serving the purpose. You know, I'm a terrible miser, you know. I don't want to spend money on an iWatch. There's other things in my life I need. I need a cowboy hat, and I mean a proper one now.
Hello there.
If anyone knows Kevin Costner, give him a shout, will you? Kevin, yeah, how are you? Murph really likes that hat from, you know, Yellowstone. Now, granted, it's been over a couple of years. That's not the point. That's the sort of hat we need. And then I'll never wear it because the wife won't allow me to wear it. Funny how that turned out. Vacuum, good to see you. CP65 is here. APU Inspector, good evening. Viper Strike, welcome aboard. Super Typhon is here. Lurking, we love the lurkers. Angry Lou, good to see you. Mac Vision, Toto2495. Welcome in, everybody. Dazza Tiara says hello from a sunny Orlando. Dazza, I hope you're having fun, my dude. Spitfire, RAF 100 is here in the chat. Creo, welcome aboard. Muse Fan bursts in the door with his... He burst in the door with himself, right? He says how he is his mad jokes is. Happy Monday, all. Hope you're well. Muse. Martel, good evening. Hope you're keeping very well. Little Trader is here. Strap21, hola. Dougal McTavish, the chairman.
Sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
Who turned off me lights? Welcome in, Dougal. You're looking well. Assidious. Happy Monday. Who else come in the door now? We're back. We are back. We have a Black Ice Gabe. Welcome in, Gabe. You're looking well, Gabe. Mr. 90 is here. Happy Monday. Commander Balosh, welcome in. Who else come in? Where's this now? Shuffle Shoes shuffles in. AJH Don, happy Monday. Flight Sergeant, welcome in. Stick Figure, good evening. PH Roy, very good afternoon. Eamon 1973 has rambled aboard. 98 Vulcan, how is she cutting? Idle Cutoff is here. Gar Gaming, the man from Galway. You're very welcome in. Filthy, what's your Victor? No, wait, what's your Vector, Victor? Roger. We need clearance, Clarence. What a movie. Do you know, if you watch no other aviation-themed movie, Airplane, you're covered. You've learned it all, lads, you know. But anyway, Sunjammer, hello. Wicked Lumberjacks is here. Hope we're all surviving on this Monday, if not thriving. Yeah, baby. Thriving. I like it. Or skiving, in my case. Hermit, something good to see you. All right, lads, knuckle down. News this. Nuke is here. 10 streams in a row, man. Thank you very, very much indeed. Steiny is here. Good evening. Steiny, do I need to reset the server on the gadget? I was going to, and then I saw a message that I didn't have to. We'll have to find out. Balut, welcome aboard. Cami Niner, very good evening to you. 98 Vulcan says, no flyage for me. The sim totally shagged. I've no idea why. Oh, Jesus. Not happy at all. What did you do? How much is for one of them and for the them? No, you can get two of them and one of them. Myself and Muse have our own language here. This is brilliant. Murph finally found something whiter than he is. That's brilliant. But also, Jesus, we don't get the sun. I don't take to the sun. I burn. I get sunburn thinking about the sunburn. Do you know? But anyway, old veteran 965, howdy all from the phone. Scott, very happy Monday to you. Hope you're well. Kanzui is here. Use this help. Can check tonight for now. Wait, what? Use this help. Can check tonight for now. Got it. I'm lost, Kanzui, but great to see you. I'm reading that totally mad. Because giving every soldier a Tesla runs a lot of cost. Right. Use this help. Oh, wait, yeah. Marching. See, we're catching up now. Right, we're over here now. Cyrus T, the man of teal. Good to see you, Cyrus. Hope you're well. Commander Freezer, welcome aboard. Rad Baron is here. And if you hear go around near Cincinnati, you can ignore it. Jesus. Twarog, you're very welcome aboard. Happy Monday. Who else come in the door here now, lads? It's VFR separation with ATC. Yeah, pretty much. It's flight following. So when you request flight following, ATC, when they can, it's not a guarantee you're going to get that service, right? In Ireland and the UK and Europe, we call it a basic service or radar service. In the States, they call it flight following. And effectively what it is, ATC are following your flight and they're there to provide you with advisories, right? Bit of traffic information, some weather information and so on. But they're only there following your flight. They're not controlling it. All right. So just because you're talking to ATC, I mean, they could be busy, right? So they're not your eyes looking out the window of your plane. They're just giving you some information. A prime example, right? A prime example could be if you're flying on VATSIM, for example, and you are receiving flight following, right? So you're flying in your little Cessna, you're under flight following, and then there's someone else flying on VATSIM, and they're not using flight following. They're just tuned into, Unicom or whatever. Well, we're all squawking VFR, so that's your little radar blip going to the controller. So he can advise you to say, hey, there's another plane over there, be aware of him. So he's telling us, oh, look, there's the plane over there. If we were just on Unicom, we may not have seen him. Yeah, we can check our instruments on the aircraft, we have ADSB, we can see what's going on, but it depends. So treat ATC when it comes to flight following as an extra pair of eyes and ears. That's basically what they do. But they're not there. They're not going to control your flight. And you got to be careful about that, because just because you have flight following, well, that doesn't mean you can enter airspaces without someone telling you can enter. So we need to remember that. That's important, right? But anyway, where are we now? The clue is in the name. Indeed it is. Proby Pete, welcome in. He says, good day from Arizona. I did this lesson yesterday using SayIntentions with no issues. There we go. Finishing my taxes today and we'll listen in offline. Enjoy and have fun. How can I get a copy of those cheat sheets? Proby Pete, if you can answer the question, what is the square root of a Leitrim scallop squirrel? A Leitrim scallop squirrel, the circumference of his mustache, drop me a DM and I'll let you know if you won. Yeah. Wraith Tempest, good to see you. Where are we at now? Stu Snape, good evening, Stu. Hope you're well. Schutz is here. Happy Monday. Where are we at now? Flight following involves flying while following. Right? Brilliant. Bless Mr. Two-Tone. Absolutely, Creo. The poor old devil. Probably deserves a new kitchen after the horror of the dentist. The adult version of a sticker for doing well. Yes, a gold star. Who asked you? Brilliant. Stu says, can I join your trucking tomorrow? Oh, you can join us tomorrow. Oh, nice. Steiny and Stewie helped you out. I love that. I love that. Well done, and thank you, lads. Your electric bill must be huge. Oh, Jesus, then. Yeah, it's shocking, right? But it's grand. Totally fine. It'll be grand. Murph playing with his deck on stream. That's going to be an after deck. No. If you're from New Zealand, don't say it. But from anywhere else in the world, it's grand. The impossible faces here. Sir Camsalot, AJH, man, you're looking well. Then we got the raid, the amazing raid from Grizzle and all the Grizzle guys. Thank you very, very much indeed, Grizzle. Lads, you're very welcome in. Hope you had an awesome stream. Yeah, but Grizzle is scared of VFR. Alex, brilliant. He'd be grand. Right, we're over here now. Apocalypse, please. Good to see you. Who else come in the door here? Chakal, welcome aboard. Uziel has returned. Greetings, man. You're looking well. The wife needs a new kitchen, eh? The watch is more fun, though. Right, yeah, that's we need something stronger though, something stronger. Max Stallion, good to see you. Spice Bazaar, you're very welcome aboard. Andy64, welcome in. Who else come in? Alson, happy Monday. Burst in the door with his choose your next word carefully, more family friendly. But listen, that was the direction it was going before I had to kind of, retract. Chakal says hello from Brazil. Hello from Tipperary. Hope you're well, man. Right, over here now. Look, buttons and all that. Lord Freed, my dude, you're very welcome aboard. Love your work. We're flying in your chariot of excellence this evening, the Gabrielle. Really enjoying this airplane for a training aircraft, for an aircraft that you want to start learning VFR. This is brilliant. It's brilliant. Your Cessnas are what you're probably going to find in most flight schools, but this definitely is the future. This is kind of where they're going for. And it's just fun to fly. Highly, highly recommend this machine, lads. But anyway, we're over here. Look, he said my name. Trarog, who did? Alson, 4 months. Thank you very much indeed for the tier 1 sub. Gerald is here. Gerard, Gerald. Why can't I keep making the balls of that. Jeez, it's terrible. I need to watch more of The Witcher. Hydrospace, welcome aboard. Ascardi Wolf, isn't a Tasty Beverage a gold sticker for... It is. Tasty Beverage, that's the gold sticker. Come on, Ascari, you're back in the wolf. Or in the will. Wolf. Jesus, Mitsuki is here. Flight following is when an F-16 follows your flight. That could work. I thought there was an interception. For who? It's shocking. He made a pun without even realising it. Wait, what? Speaking of tomorrow's stream, I'll be late after picking my parents up. That's quite okay, CP. That's Angel, welcome aboard. Jesus, Test Pilot is here. 39 months. Thank you very, very much indeed, Test Pilot. You legend. He's in the bush. Happy Monday. Hope you're keeping well. Neo is here. I bought the Gabrielle. It's fun. Just waiting for it on Flight Sim 2024. Yeah, it's awesome, man. It's awesome. Yeah, your electric bill is shocking. Oh yeah, I kind of blew straight through that one, didn't I? Ah, Jesus. Right, Muse, you need to there needs to be a button that you press to say, Murph, you need to laugh here. Someone did something funny. And make sure I do laugh. And don't take advantage of me. If someone says something quite heartwarming and then I laugh. You know, you have to laugh now, Murph. No, you shouldn't have laughed. That can happen. I need a prompter. Anyway, who's here on YouTube? UTV and Ham, good to see you. Alan Black is here. Uniform Goose, good to see you, Goose. Hope all is well. Black Sheep Jean, good day. Northland Air is here. Dave Cleary, legend Dave. Welcome in, Dave. Mrs. TPHI is here. Hope you're keeping very well. Mystic, good evening. Who else come in here now? Johnny Shue, hope you're well. PGM is in the house. Welcome aboard. What part? Wait now, waiting for me Mosa force feedback yoke, says Jean. Ooh, that's going to be nice. Jim Messenger, very good evening to you. Captain Mustard is in the house. Angels 15, welcome in. Naprobs, top of the morning to you. Hope you're well. Hope you're very well. Right, now, shall we get started, friends? I think we will. Don't look at the... You don't look at the mod chat often. I can't. Because it's an ambush always waiting to happen, you see. Sometimes it's safe. Sometimes it's not. Me dog just died. Murph breaks out in controllable laughter. That's what I'm worried about. Right? That's what you would... That's the sort of trouble you get me into, lads. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. Come over here now, clipboard, and put that down beside yourself. Right. Now, lads, remember... Jesus. Remember now, I have my clipboard beside me. That's serious business now, right? Is it dark in here or something? But anyway, it is a bit dark, but sure, listen, I have a very bright face. I can't speak tonight. Daniel Meyer, good evening. Hope you're keeping very well. Hammer Nails, 27 months. Thank you very, very much indeed. Hammer Nails, hope you're well, man. Hope you're well. Right,
dreamy,
lads.
sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
Charlie B, I've literally bit me tongue because you pressed that button and your man's voice is very loud in my head. Right, now, let's see. What am I doing? Oh yeah, we're doing this. Right, we'll start off at the beginning. It's usually the best place where to start. Now it's dark. Thank you. Brilliant. Right, what we're doing tonight, well, we're going to have a look at the ground school document. And this is available over on our website, twotonemurphy.com. I just use this PDF version. You can grab the PDF version as well if you like. So you go on over to twotonemurphy.com, ramble into the Learn ATC series, and here we have the tremendous work from Gibbo after he put up the VFR and the IFR ATC series. Look at this, we did that in April 2023, May 2024, and this is going to be April 2025. So we click on the FAA Conversion course, right? And here we go to the ground school document, give it a moment to load, and then the whole shebang should appear as it's trying to find our current lesson. For a second there, I didn't think it was going to load. So this is what I'm looking at here. And you can save this as a PDF. You can download it. And if you want to print one off, Greta won't thank you for it, though. It's like 271 pages. You can do so. I have a link over on our Discord for it. All right. So that's where you can grab it, lads. Anyway, what we're doing tonight is a recap on last week. So the whole idea behind this course, this transition from, European flying into flying in the United States, the major difference is the vast majority of our focus is going to be on the airspace. It's the airspace, all right? And then, yes, you have the vocabulary, the change of voice procedure or radio telephony, basically how we say things and how things are said, right? They're the main changes. There's a handful of other rules and regulations we need to be careful of, but by and large, that is the most of it. That is the most of it. So understanding the different airspaces in which, what do we do when we're getting close to them, or how do we get in, or how do we get out of them? Do we need permission to enter this area versus that area? That's kind of on you to figure out and just get used to it. All the information you need is here, right? And any flight that will do, where we're going to look at each and every flight plan to make sure we know what to do when we need to do it, depending on the airspace we're going to fly. And for our own guys, our own Firefly Air group, every Thursday night who fly on VATSIM, that's what they do. Naughty Gnome with the lads, they plan all their flights each and every week. They give all the information. They'll point you in the direction of what sceneries you need. And if you want to go and, you know, give it a shot, the guys are there to help you out. If you have any questions, well, you can ask them. If you just want to build up a bit of confidence, jump in, have a listen to what it is that they're saying. It's amazing. And they've been running that and I think there's 1 week they didn't do it. Am I right? There was just 1 week. And that's since we've done our IFR course. It's been incredible. And it's incredible, right? And their main focus at the moment was flying in Europe, because that's, you know, the nuts and bolts of what we've learned so far have been in Europe. But now we're going to be rambling over to the States, and you can imagine the amount of flights they're going to do stateside. So it's very interesting, and it happens every Thursday night, usually at 1900 Zulu. And the guys stream it inside Discord. Like, you can see everything. If you know, if you've questions, or if you're stuck, or if you just want to jump in and have a listen, it's very, very good. So do be sure you check that out. So what we're going to focus on tonight is just a quick roundup from last week, right? Now, have I my lesson plan? That will be handy, Murphy. Hang on, I grab my lesson plan, because we're going to need this. Where is this now? Where is this now? Bum 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 bum. Ba 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 ba. Now, where is this? I need that and that, and I need my little booking. Word, and in here I'm going to find me lesson plan. So lesson plan 1, go, and I'll come down here to lesson plan number 2. Right, in you go. Right, so what we're going to be doing, friends, come up here now. That is not today's date, so don't worry about that. Our flight tonight is following that of the Wings 2 course. So by the end of the lesson, hopefully you're going to understand the purpose and use of flight following. Be able to plan and file a VFR flight plan. Now, a lot of the time you don't need to file a VFR flight plan in the US. You just don't need to do it. I like to do it. Every time I go flying, I want a flight plan. Flight plans, the reason in the real world flight plans are important, people will know, you know, if you don't come back or if you don't be in an area you're supposed to be. That's the importance of a flight plan. But anyway, choose the appropriate VFR cruise altitude, know how to request flight following, and complete a VFR cross-country flight from Nantucket over to Quonset. So that's what we're doing tonight, all right? So we're going to have a quick blast through what we learned last week. So we were looking at the airspace, all right? So using our TTM docket, you can use the website. I'll use my little handy one here. And I'm just going to go down here now and find airspace. So we were learning all this last week, all right? So in this, Class A, we'll never touch that with VFR in general aviation. It starts at flight level 180 all the way up to flight level 600, all right? So we're not going to get near there. However, we will be rambling in a Class Bravo at sometimes. They're very, very busy airports. Class Charlie, also very busy, but not as busy. Then we have Deltas, and then we have Echo. And then outside of all that, then you have, well, you know, Golf. We read down through it, what each and every one of them are. And this is all there. Tis in the book, tis black or white. Have a read of it, lads, because this is the stuff we need to figure out, all right? So that's all well and good. We now know how to identify these airspaces, and reading down to this manual, it explains what they are, what do we need, what are the rules, yeah? We need to know the rules of them. For example, Class B airspace. Well, minimum requirements to enter. Well, you need a PPL. We know that. We need to have two-way radio communication, and we need to have transponders. We also have speed restrictions. We also have, there's a whole load of stuff, right? But don't get too bogged down in it. The idea behind this, I don't want to flood you with too much information. Give you enough to get you going. And if you want to dive in afterwards, dive in afterwards. But there's going to be enough here to get you going, all right? So all the airspace stuff we did last week. So it's all there in the manual. Have a read over it if you're unsure. But why we use this and why this is important, because we need to get familiar when it comes down to flight planning and how we're going to do our flight, all right? So tonight, we're going to recap on the traffic pattern. So again, we'll jump up here to our contents. And we have the traffic circuit. Now, over this side of the house is called a circuit. Over in America, it's called the traffic pattern. But it's much the same, right? Much the same. The charts will usually tell you it's going to be 1,000 feet above ground level. That's the pattern altitude, right? And can anyone remember what direction are the vast majority of patterns or circuits? What direction do they turn? The vast majority. Anyone remember that from last week? Zybot, good to see you. Hello from Tipperary. Hope you're well. It's a left turn. They'll tell you the vast majority of patterns turn to the left. Now, if they don't turn to the left, well, they're going to tell us. If they don't tell us, we assume they turn left. If you're at a pattern, right? If you're at an airport or an airfield, and you know it doesn't say it's a right-hand pattern, so you're assuming it's left, but there's ATC there. Well, ATC could easily tell you right closed traffic or left closed traffic. And the reason why ATC take over, well, their job is to what they call sequence you, but basically it's separate you. It's keep you away from other aircraft. So if you know they're looking at the aerodrome radar and there's all sorts of inbounds coming in to the west, well, they're going to say, look, you're taking off on the north runway, we want you over there on the right side. So they're going to tell you right closed traffic. So just because your chart will say left or doesn't say left, you're assuming it's left, ATC can override that. Just be aware of it. Just be aware of it. All right. So we have a couple of turns. There's a couple of reporting points along the circuit, right? We take off. Our first turn is the crosswind leg. Now, flying a la Murphy, I wait till I get to about 500 feet, then I take my first turn, 90 degrees. I get to another 500 feet, then I turn left again, and I'm on the downwind leg, and that's 1,000 feet above the ground level. According to the FAA handbook, they don't mind you turning so long as you're kind of within 300 feet of the pattern altitude. So they'll probably expect you to climb up, 600-700 feet before you turn left. I've always done it at 500 feet. I've done it in the real world, and that's what I do. So just be aware of that. You want to be turning your first turn after you clear the threshold, the approach zone of the runway wants to be somewhere between kind of 500 and 700 feet. Take your first turn. Left or right, depending on the airport. All right. On the downwind leg, you definitely want to be at pattern altitude. And the downwind leg is basically you're flying the opposite direction of where you took off. And the airport is going to be either on your left or your right, depending on the pattern, the circuit, effectively, depending on the direction of the pattern. Then that's called the downwind leg. Then you have a base leg. Now, when we say we're turning base, the reason why you have a base leg and how you find that, when do we know? Can anyone remember? When do you know when you're going to turn base? How do you know? There's no signposts up there, right? Turn base. Oh, Jesus. They don't have those. So how are we going to know, roughly, in any aircraft, how are we going to know roughly when to turn base? And base is basically our last turn before we turn final onto that runway. Yeah. ATC will tell you, yes, CP, but what if you don't have ATC? 45 degree over your shoulder. There we go. You look out the window over your shoulder, and once the start of the runway, the base of the runway is about 45 degree angle away from you, that's when you start turning. That makes sense? So you're basically look over your shoulder, oh, there's the ticket there, and then you turn. So roughly 45 degrees. Now, there's no one out there in a measuring tape. You're not going to get in trouble, if it's 47 degrees or 39. Roughly, when the start of the runway that you're landing on is over your shoulder, be it your left shoulder or your right shoulder at a 45 degree angle, yeah, that's when we turn in. As we turn onto the base leg, we're already descending because we have to get down now from the pattern altitude because we're either going to land, touch and go, stop and go, whatever. We then turn final. And again, this is all visual. We're looking at where the runway is. So we need to base this on our turn rate. We've got to aim off for a little bit of wind, so on and so on. When we turn final, tip number one, if you can, always give yourself a slightly longer final, especially in the real world, because the longer you have on your final approach, the easier and faster it is to get the aircraft stable. Once you get that aircraft stable, chances of a successful landing, particularly accurate landing, forget about smoothness, we're not here for that. We need an accurate landing. That means wheels touch down at the touchdown marker or at your aiming point, yeah? The longer you have on final, the easier it is to achieve that. If you turn base too early and suddenly, Jesus, I need to land straight away, well, you don't have a lot of time to keep the aircraft stable, meaning you're doing loads of adjustments, therefore you're no longer focusing on the finesse of the accuracy of your landing. You know what I mean? Now, sometimes at an airport, ATC could, it's called extend a downwind. They could extend it because they're trying to, space out the different traffic. So they could say, extend downwind, I'll call your base. They could say something like that. It makes sense. All right, you want me to extend my downwind and they're going to call my base. Okay, that makes sense, right? Or they could say, extend downwind for 2 minutes or extend downwind for 2 miles. They could give it to you in distance either. Usually they don't. They'll just tell you, I'll extend your downwind base, or extend your downwind, I'll call your base. Usually that's what they do. But when you're practicing, even offline, when you're doing your pattern, the distance you want to be away from the airport, especially on your downwind leg, that parallel leg, the distance you want to be away is roughly 1 to 1.5 miles. Roughly. If you're 2 miles out, that's fine, but you don't want to be too far out, especially if there's other traffic. So you want to maintain about 1 mile, 1.5 miles, roughly. All right? Any questions so far? Let me know. Now, these little call signs that we have, base, final, crosswind, downwind, these are also important for when we approach an airport, how we're going to land. Because ATC, they're going to give us a joining instruction. They could say, fly straight in. That's wonderful news. We don't need to worry about it. Or they might say, join left base, join left crosswind, overhead join. They could do all these different things. So we need to figure out, well, where in the blue motherage, where do they want us, right? So that's what we need to figure it out. Well, we know where these little waypoints are. Every airport is the same. They have this imaginary kind of rectangular shape. That's the pattern. So we just need to understand, well, if the active runway is facing north, yeah, well, that's going to make things relatively easy. That means, depending on the what direction of the pattern, the downwind or the downwind, left downwind is going to be, 270 degrees away from it, or due west. If it was the right downwind, well, it could be 090 degrees east. Think of your 360 degrees, yeah? Your base leg is when you're turning from south to east, and then you're turning from east to north. It's the same sort of stuff, all right? I was told to extend downwind once, then the controller forgot about me and the conga line that was behind us. That can happen, Rad Baron. Yeah, that can happen. So if it was the case that, the controller says to you, extend downwind, I'll call your base, and you report back to him, extend downwind, you'll call my base, November 235 Romeo Mike. And you're now flying for something like 5 or 6 or even 7 minutes, and you're saying, Janie, then I'm going a long way out here. Well, don't be afraid to give them a shout back. They can forget. It can happen. We're human, right? So don't be afraid to call back and say, hey, we're still here, right? You don't come across cheeky because, just don't come across cheeky. But you can tell them, November 235, we're still on that extended downwind. Just checking in or something like that, yeah? We can probably tighten up on that phraseology, but you're just letting them know, hey,
hello,
did you forget about me? You're not going to say, hey, did you forget about me? You're going to get a smart comment. No, I didn't. I'm above the law, right? You don't go down that road with them. You know what I mean? Who's this now? Awesome Meal, welcome aboard. Thank you for the follow, man. So that's the pattern, or as we call it, the circuit, but it's the traffic pattern. And what we say, closed traffic. What we mean by closed traffic. Closed traffic means we're going to stay in the pattern. You often hear them say at different airports in the real world, hey, I want to do pattern work, circuits, or VFR circuits, or VFR pattern, different things. But basically what it is, it's closed traffic. You're going to remain inside that pattern. You're staying within his area. All right? Right. I would suggest you call back a minute before you leave tower airspace. Jeffrey, you could do that. If you're using something like Navigraph and you know exactly where the airspace is, sure, of course you can. Or maybe just VOR landmarks. You're familiar with the airport and you're thinking, Jesus, I'm halfway here to Sally Gap and I need to be landing in Cork, right? But yeah, you could, of course. Now, it's all well and good looking at the image, but we break it down in a lot more detail. Departure, crosswind, downwind, base leg, and final. All right? So all that information is there for us. So last week's lesson was to do the traffic pattern. All right? So if I open up the WINGS course, so there's our ground school document. Go over here. Here's the WINGS course. And if we come down here, from Boston Virtual ARTCC. Here's the traffic pattern. And what I love about what Boston Virtual ARTCC have done, what I love what the WINGS program does, there's enough information in here to get you going, but they don't, like, you know, you don't need to lie down after reading it. And they're giving you, you know, you can see it. Here's your training material. This is what you're doing. This is direction of flight. This is how you're going to do your flight. You know, this is what you're going to say, or words to that effect. This is what the controller is going to do. And then this is, like, they explain to you what the whole flight is going to be. All right. So for this WINGS 1 flight, what we need to do, it's, I think it's 3, is it? Where's this now? We need to ring this or read this. So let's see here now. That's grand. Because VFR flight, that's grand. Controller will give you AGL. That's grand. 3/4 of the way. That's grand. Unless specific. Depending on how much, that's grand. Additionally, air traffic control might tell you this. After you completed 3 touch and go or full stops or stop starts, whatever, we'd need to do 3 laps effectively. Then we've completed our first VFR flight. All right. Then, friends, we're going to be moving on to VFR 2. And this is where I'm going to get into the navigation, right? Learning how we're going to plan our flight, file a flight if we need to, and then we're going to look for flight following. And that's all part of what we're doing tonight. All right. So do we have radar services over this neck of the woods? We do. So they have, Boston Center have lit up the entire area for us here now on VATSIM. And if we have a look around here, well, we can see, well, there's no tower operating here, but we do have Boston up and running. All right. So we're going to be talking to the Boston Center. We're going to be talking to the center the whole way through and telling them, hey, this is us. This is what we're doing. And let's see what happens there. So we're going to be doing our circuits. Now, whether or not he's able to entertain us doing our circuits, he could just say, you know, go to CTAF, do your couple of circuits and call us back. Right. It all depends. But definitely when we're doing our flight, the VFR 2 flight, well, we're definitely going to be doing that because that's where we're going to over to Quonset. All right. So more controllers due in at 9 o'clock. Yeah. So another 5 or 6 minutes. I was already chatting to the lads. All right. So we should be grand. So what we're going to do, knowing that we have to do some circuits and we're just kind of, you know, recapping on what we did last week. Well, there's 2 little birds we can hit here because if we look at the Boston WINGS program, they also have the pre-flights, right? So pre-flight 1 and 2, we should have that done. Pre-flight 3 requires a controller to be online. So basically we just call them and we look for the pre-flight 3. So if we have a look at the pre-flights and we go over here to pre-flight 3, where are you now? There should be a little link here to pre-flight 3. I think it's here, 103. There she goes. During the pre-flight check, we'll do everything that we've learned thus far, making simulator prep and so on. So what we need to do, we connect to VATSIM and then we call them up and we say the following. Sim brief, that's all okay for a flight plan. That's all well and good. Controllers at Boston Virtual provide ATC. The airspace covers 165,000 square miles. So we'll have clearance, delivery, ground, local tower, approach, departure, or center. So we know from VATSIM, we tend to say, well, it's a top-down situation. This is done in reverse. But if they're online, we talk to this guy. If he's not online, go to the next controller. So it's just opposite. It's the same idea. It's a top-down. Who's at the very top? Who's online? Okay, well, who's below him? Right? So you talk to the one nearest to your location. That's how it works. All right? Where's this now? The controller you think will provide coverage via voice, provide your location and ask for the correct frequency. So they're being sound about it. If you're unsure of which controller to contact, call the controller you think will be providing your coverage, provide your location and ask for the correct frequency. A lot of places they don't do that. They might say something smart. Flipper Ally, you got to see it. All right. If only centers online, I always feel like they might be annoyed if people just want to do traffic patterns. Never ever think that. Ask the question, right? If they're very busy, they're flat out busy, and you know, if you ask them, and if you don't want to sound like a complete idiot over the airways, you can drop them a quick message. I mean, you can use vPilot for that. Just say, hey, listen, any chance can I do some VFR circuits? If you're too busy, that's quite okay. Be sound about it. Be nice about it. If they're not too busy, they'll say, sure, go ahead. Or they might say, shag off, I'm flat out. Do you know what I mean? So try and use a bit of common sense with it as well, if you can. If you can. All right? So we're going to be talking to this guy because the first thing we want to do is, we want to say, hey, Where's this now? Bradley Ground requesting credit for wings pre-flight 3. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do this part first, right? So ramble on over here into the sim. And let us see now here with our beloved Gabrielle aircraft, right? Absolutely love this machine. So what we're going to do, we're just going to turn on the battery. And we'll get our avionics turned on here as well. Because we're only going to be talking to ATC, right? Now, with our ATC, we can connect to the VATSIM network over here. And I am going to use, I use this over a network, lads. That's why it looks different. I'm going to connect. My call sign, November 235 Romeo Mike. Aircraft type is Gabrielle. She should be already in there. And we're going to connect. Now, we should be connected. And we'll give it a moment. So it says I'm connected. Here's frequency. Someone has a hot mic. That wasn't me. So someone has a hot mic, right? So what we're going to do, we can do a couple of things. We can tune into ATIS to make sure our radios are working, all right? So the ATIS over here is going to be, what are we, 127.5?
Nantucket Tower, good morning, November 301 Bravo.
There you go, there's someone there.
November 301 Bravo, Nantucket Tower.
Nantucket Tower, November 301 Bravo, requesting credits for wings pre-flight part 3, please.
Can you guys hear that okay?
November 301 Bravo, that is passed, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So hopefully you can hear that, yeah?
November 301 Bravo, could you just DM me your CID or name so I can enter that?
Hey, firm, we'll do that now.
Okay. Now we're going to do the same. We're going to jump on and see what he says. So Nantucket Tower is actually on, which is brilliant. So that's 118.3. So let's go in and have a listen to the ATIS first. So 127.5. Just have a listen. If this works. 127.5.
Hello there.
Transfer that, you muppet. Transfer.
Air emissions, runway 6 approach lights out of service.
So let's have a listen.
Caution for birds in the vicinity of the airport. Advise on initial contact, give information, Charlie. Nantucket Tower, ATIS information, Charlie, 1853 Zulu, wind 060 at 12, gusts 17, visibility 5, light rain, mist, ceiling 800 overcast, temperature 5, 2.4, altimeter 2975, ILS runway 6 in use, landing and departing runway 6, notice air emissions, runway 6 approach lights out of service, use caution for birds in the vicinity of the airport, advise on initial contact, give information, Charlie.
Okay, so we have a bit of information there.
Nantucket Tower, ATIS information.
So turn him off for the moment. So what we've just heard, we can hear your radio. We can, Nottingham, well done. So what we've heard there, lads, that's the ATIS, the Automated Terminal Information Service. It's basically the weather, what's happening right now. Now you notice my weather looks very, very different because that's the beauty of a flight sim. That's what we can do, even though we're on VATSIM, but we can change the weather. A couple of things, though, we need to make sure is correct. We need to make sure our altimeter settings match, and also the wind, at least when it comes to the direction of the wind, all right? Because in the real world, at the moment, in Boston, the whole area, there is no, it's not VFR conditions, you know what I mean? And there now. I heard a bang, what? Bang. Okay. I heard a bang, but it's all right. It was young fella. Jungfla made the bang. Right. So the other bit of information he gave us some NOTAMs, notice to air mission, right? And we know that the active runway is 6. We would say 06 in Europe. They just say 6. That's the active runway. They're telling us that the lights are shagged and there's birds in the area. All right. So we have some information. Does anyone remember the information code? What is the ATIS code? It was a letter. What information do we have? Right? Multiplayer is already off, Nottingham. Information, Charlie, yeah? All right, so we have the ATIS, but let's now dial into Nantucket Tower, 118.3, and we'll give him a shout and we'll find out what happens, right? So let's see what happens here. Nantucket Tower, November 235 Romeo Mike, VFR request.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Nantucket Tower.
November 235 Romeo Mike would like to request the Wings pre-flight 3, please.
For 235 Romeo Mike, that is passed. If you could send me your CID and name, and I'll put that in for you.
We'll go for November 235 Romeo Mike. All right, so we've requested, we've established communications with ATC, and he's just saying, hey, just send me on your details in the DM. He could do copy paste, make life easier, yeah. So what we're going to do, I'm going to do that over here. I can't share this screen, but you'll bring up vPilot, right? Oh, actually, can I do it from here? No. So I'm using this in like a network mode, but you'll see basically the screen is different. You're going to see a whole load of frequencies you can talk to. So that's basically what it's doing, right? Anyway, hang on a second. I'll do this very quickly and get this information over to our good friend, Monty VATSIM. Log in there now, Murphy. Ba-ba-ba-da. Okay. Open a private chat. November 235 Romeo Wings 3 Flight 3 did. Okay, so I've just sent him a message to say, hey, I've just done this. And then he'll come around and say, hey, good stuff. He should drop me a message back to say, yeah, all is well in the realm. All right? Super duper. Now, this is all about our kind of awareness to what's happening. And for this, we can use multiple tools, lads, right? We can use the VATSIM-radar.com, which is a free service, utterly deadly, right? Or we can use Navigraph. Now, Navigraph, I adore Navigraph. It is a paid subscription, though, but it's incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. So we're going to unload that flight. Here we are here. And, well, if we want to have a look at traffic on this, well, we absolutely can. Turn it on. This is going to show us now ATC. So there's me. And here's, click on this guy. Who's this guy? There is an aircraft there, but I can't see him. I just got a DM back from that controller to say, yeah, that's grand, confirmed. Brilliant. All right. VAC glasses, yeah, VAC glasses too. Now I should be able to see that aircraft, but just, I can't read him yet. I imagine that's not gnome. I'm over here. So runway 6 is the one that's active. So let's start doing a bit of planning in our head here, lads, yeah? Runway 6 is the active runway. Okay. So we know we're going to be doing traffic patterns off runway 6. Now, remember what we covered last week? The information that we need, Nantucket Memorial Airport. The tower is on 118.3.
Nantucket Tower, November 301 Bravo at the GA tenant ramp. Information Charlie, requesting taxi for VFR closed traffic and WINGS VFR 1, please.
That's exactly what we need to say.
301 Bravo Nantucket Tower, WINGS VFR 1 is approved. Information Delta is now available. Just advise when you have that. Runway 6, taxi via Hotel Echo.
Approved for WINGS VFR flight 1.
So he's getting hotel.
Information Delta, I'll just go and pick
Echo.
up. And then taxi to runway 6 via Hotel and Echo for November 301 Bravo.
Is it making sense so far? We're going to jump in and get going on this as well. So our left turns, we're going to be off runway 6. And then we start doing our turns. Left, left, and left again. All right? Are we happy enough so far, lads? Stop me if I'm moving too fast for you. But this is going to be a good demonstration to see what's happening. Yeah? So here's me, and there's 301 Bravo. He's right beside me. Right beside me. So if I have a look behind me... No, he's just there. Yeah? So the beauty about this, well, we don't need to call for engine start or any of that stuff. So I'm just going to get my aircraft configured. So we're going to say remove the chocks, torpedo covers, and double check our fuel on board. We have sufficient. That all looks good to me. We're not squawking anything at the moment, but we will be because we're VFR. Yeah. So let me see. Transponder is set to VFR. At this stage, we're going to close this canopy. There we go. And lock the door. And we already have our battery on, so we'll start putting on some lights outside. Anti-collision lights can come on, and also our nav lights. That's going to let other aircraft know what the story is. We have our circuit breakers down here. Make sure these are all in the down position. We also have some noise-cancelling headphones, very fancy. And what else do we have? Internal lighting if we need it. Climate control, leave it off. Prop goes to full, mixture goes fully rich, crack the throttle about 1/4 of an inch. We have our auxiliary fuel pump coming on now. Light is on, it's telling us what the crack is. Turn off the headphones so we can see what's happening. And we're going to reset our barrow here as well. Now remember, we need to make sure, let's just flick this across. Wait, can I do that from here?
Nantucket Tower, it is information Delta 1953 Zulu. Wind 070 at 12, gusts 17. Visibility 10. Ceiling 700 overcast. Temperature 5, dew point 4. Altimeter 2973. ILS
2973.
Landing and departing runway 6. No stair emissions. Runway 6.
There we
Approach
go.
lights out of service. Use caution for birds.
All right. So, what we're going to do, we're going to start at the aircraft. We don't need to ask them to start it, unlike Europe. Now, you might have to, listening to the ATIS, it might say something like, all aircraft call before engine start. That can happen. There are some places in America that do that. So, listen in before you do anything, yeah? Okay, both mags are coming on here now. Click on the old alternator. Fuel is on. Booster pump is on. We can't really say clear prop because our canopy is down, but we'll say it anyway. Clear prop. And we're going to go for what's called the engine start. Lift the gadget and start. Good. Start the engine. Close it down. Bring up our pitot heat. And we sit tight. There goes naughty. So where next? We're going to be asking the question. We're going to be saying, hey, we're VFR Flight 3. If we're unsure what we're going to say, or sorry, VFR Flight 1. If we're unsure what to say, well, the WINGS program or the WINGS flights, well, they do the heavy lifting for us, yeah? So again, we just go back over to the website and we'll figure out what it is we're going to say. So VFR 1, all about the traffic pattern, yeah, what we're going to be doing. And we come down here and it's going to say Nantucket ground, our call sign at the terminal, information, it's not Bravo. What's the information now, lads? Requesting to taxi VFR closed traffic and WINGS VFR 1. So when we communicate to this to ATC, they'll shout us back and then we need to confirm it. So they've just changed it, Lieutenant Bob. It's now information Delta. There's been a change to the altimeter. It was at 29er, what was it, 76. She's now dropped to 29er 73. All right. So let's give him a call and we'll ask the question. Nantucket Tower, November 235 Romeo Mike at the GA terminal. Information Delta. Request taxi for VFR closed traffic and WINGS VFR 1.
Aircraft calling Nantucket Tower, contact ground on 132.5.
Over the ground, 132.5, 5 Romeo Mike. Oh, didn't see him come on. Ground is now on, 132.5. Jesus, they put out the red carpet tonight. 132.5, enter. Right, so we're going to need 132.5, 118.3. So we have two people to talk to. 118.3, 132.5, and verify I am talking to this guy. Transfer. So we should be on 132.5. Let's have a look. 132.5. You wouldn't get that treatment of Shannon. Be God, then you wouldn't. Apocalypse, please. What did he tell me? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. We moved it. Be grand. Right. We'll ask again. Nantucket ground. Gabriel, November 235 Romeo Mike at the GA terminal. Information Delta. Request taxi for VFR closed traffic and WINGS VFR 1. He could say shag off.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Nantucket ground, runway 6, taxi via Hotel Echo.
Taxi runway 6 via Hotel and Echo for November 235 Romeo Mike. Alright. Alright, so he's given us a taxi instruction. He's telling us Hotel and Echo. Charts, and did I mention it?
Hello there.
Charts. We need to look at the charts for this, lads. So we're down here. We're going to go Hotel. Then it's going to be a right turn onto Echo and all the way down the road to Echo. Are we happy enough? We know what we're doing? Lovely. Taxi light coming on. Dish. And we're looking good. Off the brake. Wheel it forward. Teeny tiny bit of power. And we're going to keep an eye on where we're taxiing. Now again, eyes outside the aircraft, lads. We're watching for other traffic. That's what it's all about. Watch your ground speed. Don't be cooning around the place like a pack of mad idiots, right? This is going to be a problem. I need to turn off multiplayer because this will make us famous. Online, multiplayer needs to be off. I thought I only had that. Right, drive it on, Murph. Marco, thank you very much indeed for the follow. Alright. So we're now on hotel. And it's going to be a turn to the right onto Echo. Now again, the beauty of a flight sim, we can jump right back and have a look. So there's hotel and there's Echo. It's the second one we're going on, yeah? We need the second one. Alright. Now a lot of this familiarization, this will come in the more you start flying at an airport. You're just going to learn the place. You're going to get more familiar with it. You know what I mean? So we're going to be doing 3 laps. Now we know it's going to be 1,000 feet above the pattern or above ground level, yeah? So we're just going to dial in about 1,000 feet. Now don't mind the taxiway lights here. It's shagged. So we're going to hang a right. Up you divil you. And we're now on Echo. Our instruction was taxi, hotel, and Echo. Thank you, Georgie. Don't know why she did that. So if you go into the pause menu, you're off. Colonel Ford, good to see you. How are you, man? That would appear to be, that's Naughty Gnome now. He's starting his pattern work, look. Cool. Now we're still dialed in onto the ground frequency. We'll get a handover onto tower shortly enough. Yeah, we're back on VATSIM, so we should be golden. So we're just taxiing along there, and we need to keep an eye out for Naughty Gnome. Now we can get him to show up on our map if needs be. That'll definitely help us, alright? But if we're using the L tracker with Navigraph, well, that's going to help us here as well. Now, other couple of things we can do. Now this is before we even do checklists for the aircraft, so you can kind of see just how busy pilots actually are, you know what I mean? What's our taxi speed here as well? So we're going to wait for ATC to give us a shout back. We probably don't need the full length, but they'll probably give us the full length. So I'm just getting myself set up, making life easy. I always put the heading bug to the direction that I'm taking off on. It just makes it easier to do all these different turns. I want to know roughly where the 90 degree is. You know what I mean? After fighting with the doctor's insurance, they finally gave me 2 weeks of med rest. Ah, Colonel Fork. Dude, I hope you're well, mate. So we continue our taxi. We're still on the ground frequency because he didn't tell us go anywhere else. Yeah? It's not an automatic handover to tower. We got to stay on ground until we're told otherwise. So to make my workload easier, I'm already tuned into ground and I have the tower as standby. So it's a quick switch, boom, I'm now talking to the tower. Alright? That's another thing, you need to keep an eye on the controllers that are coming online. I wasn't expecting such a big turnout, so massive thanks to the Boston Virtual ARTCC.
November 235 Romeo Mike, contact tower 118.3.
Over to tower 118.3 for November 235 Romeo Mike. Alright, we're over to the tower. We're probably a little bit early to call him, but we'll give him a shout. We're not really ready for takeoff yet. On down the road, Burv. Your wrist is hurting, but the spirits are high. Ah, dude.
Number 301 Bravo, runway 6, clear for the option.
Cleared for the option, so that's the spiel we're going to get.
It's the option, runway 6, November 301 Bravo.
You don't need to tell him, okay, I'm doing a touch and go, but you would have to advise him that you're doing a full stop. Nantucket Tower, November 235 Romeo Mike is taxiing runway 6 via Echo.
235 Romeo Mike, Nantucket Tower, hold short runway 6, landing traffic.
Hold short runway 6 for landing traffic, November 235 Romeo Mike. Keep going, there's a stop bar up here we can look at. So Naughty has been cleared for the option, so he's going to be turning base onto final. Keep an eye out on him. And then we'll just try and get enough time between us. Common sense prevails, we don't want to jump out of his way. So So we're going to hold short. This is where our hold short bars are, and I can verify that in the charts as well. Sometimes it can absolutely ruin your buzz, and I mean ruin
235 Romeo Mike, information Delta is current. The field is currently IFR. I just want to verify you're simulating VFR.
Roger, we are simulating VFR for Wings Flight 1, 5 Romeo Mike.
Thank you.
So we're going to hold short here. What can absolutely ruin your buzz, if you're, if you're not looking at your charts and you think that your scenery is doing all the heavy lifting, that's just not going to work, right? It's just not going to work. Now, we'll come on to our transponder because they're going to shout at us otherwise. Keep that auxiliary bump on. So our transponder, we're going to turn it on. If we don't have it on mode Charlie, just leave it on for the minute so they'll see us now on the radar. Callis, no, I haven't done a flight plan. You can, but for pattern work, you don't really have to. So I'm not overly worried. Here's Naughty Gnome coming in now. So this is one of his first touch and goes, right? He's going to do 3 laps. We need to do 3 laps. So cleared for the option.
235 Romeo Mike, runway 6, line up and wait.
Line up and wait, runway 6. November 235 Romeo Mike. All right, line up and wait. Landing lights come on. Strobes come on. Bit of power. Notch of flaps. Transponder can now go onto squawk mode Charlie. Easy now, Murph. Right is clear. Left is not clear. Naughty Gnome's just done a touch and go. Easy now. This
235 Romeo Mike, wind 060 at 12, gusts 17. On departure, make left close traffic, report midfield downwind, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 6. We'll make left traffic, report midfield for November 235 Romeo Mike. Okay, so the instruction was, you're cleared takeoff, you're turning left, report when you're at the midfield, and then we continue on from there. So we're looking good. Quick check on all our systems. We're walking, we're talking, and we're squawking. Power coming in. Let's go flying. Easy now. Watch the old manifold pressure. Don't kill it, Murph. And again, we're going to be watching our speed here as well, yeah? Easy now. There's 60. Oopsie daisy. Positive rate of climb. We still got plenty of runway left, but everything's running okay. Gear coming up. And we're going to climb on our merry way. So again, I aim for about 500 feet, give or take, before we start making any sort of a turn. Alright? So we told us to report midfield. So that's going to sound something like we're on the, left downwind. So our first turn, as I said, not yet, Murph. We'll put that down to a gust of wind. Our first turn here is going to be at 500 feet.
235 Romeo Mike, traffic at your 11 to 12 o'clock is a twin diamond on a left base for the pattern reporting site.
Roger, looking for the traffic, 5 Romeo Mike. Right now. And November 235 Romeo Mike, we have the traffic.
235 Romeo Mike, Roger, will be following him in the pattern.
Roger, we'll follow him for November 225 Romeo Mike. Alright, we see Naughty Gnome. We're coming up to our pattern altitude, about 1,000 feet. Keep an eye out on him. We're going to watch our speed. I'm going to help things out by keeping the power back a little.
Tower 301 Bravo, runway 6, clear for the option.
Runway 6, clear for the option, November 301 Bravo.
Watch your altitude, Murph. Don't drift. Watch your speed. Easy now. So we don't need to go too fast. There's a runway on the left. We'll report midfield here now in a moment. We're nearly there. Roughly there. And November 235 Romeo Mike is midfield.
235 Romeo Mike, runway 6, clear for the option number 2.
Clear for the option number 2. November 235 Romeo Mike. So cleared for the option number 2. Basically what he's saying is, hey, you can do whatever it is you want to do. Keep your flaps down on this because I want to keep that distance to Naughty Gnome. He's basically saying, listen, you're cleared, but you're number 2, i.e. you're the second aircraft. So we need to keep an eye out for Naughty Gnome. Don't drift into his flight path. And he's turning left base there now. So we're going to follow him in. So I can't see him visually just yet, but I know where he is. So, like, we're definitely not going to turn in early. Because we know he's there. There's no... Well, It doesn't work like that. We're number 2, so I'm going to maintain this position, flying dead straight. I'm expecting I'll see Naughty Gnome shortly, then I can turn after him. So basically what that means is we're number 2. We're the second aircraft looking in, yeah? And my altitude is a little bit messy. I can control that a little bit better. But yeah. We're going fairly okay-ish at the moment. Now Naughty's behind us, I'd say. What's the range of aircraft on VATSIM? Easy now. Easy now. Alright, you're going to start a left turn. And remember, we are cleared for the option, so we already got that clearance. And we start descending here now just a little bit. Watch the speed as we do. And we'll ramble in this way. Now, we gave him a very wide berth there, but that was the point. We're number 2, yeah?
For 301 Bravo, report midfield downwind.
So he's already taken off again?
Report midfield downwind for 301 Bravo.
Stu, 100% mate. This is how you learn, lads. And like, this is how real world pilots learn to fly. You gotta do the VFR stuff before you jump into the IFR stuff. It's just the way it works. Now, we're already cleared for the option. Remember that, lads. So we don't need any more permissions. We're clear to ramble in, right? So we're gonna start turning final now. And remember, the more room you have on final, the better. The absolute better, because it means we have more time to get the aircraft stable. And just get ourselves somewhat comfortable. So, what's our speed like? Looking good. Drop the legs, and we're going to ramble in now for our first touch and go. And it's going to be the same crack. So, we're going to approach the runway. We're going to do a touch and go, and then we do another pattern. I'll probably come a little bit tighter now this time because I gave Naughty loads of space there. Get your basics down to where it's at muscle memory before advancing. That is the best way to do it. This might seem boring. It's not boring. Every time you fly in VATSIM, you're going to learn something new. You just are. You're going to pick up something new.
November 301 Bravo is midfield downwind leg.
Okay,
for 301 Bravo, runway 6, clear for the option. The traffic you're following is on short final.
There's the option. Traffic's on short final for 301 Bravo. Traffic in sight.
I can see Naughty up there as well. So he's halfway down the field. So here we go for our first touch and go. Doesn't need to be spectacular. We'll go second notch of flaps. The gear is already down and verified. Here's our touchdown zone. Doesn't need to be gentle, lads. Remember, we're not going for finesse here. It's accuracy. There's our touch. Power coming back in. Speed is regaining. We're looking for about 65-ish. On Betsy. 65-ish. Oopsie daisy. Positive rate of climb. Get all the flaps in for this one because I want to build a bit of speed. Gear up. And we'll push a bit of speed here now to give me a bit of distance. Naughty's flying a DA-42, so he's going to have the legs on this. So fly runway heading, we're climbing back up to 500 feet, then it's going to be a left turn. He may or may not shout us, but we're going to report midfield if needs be. Our last instruction was report midfield, so we know the crack. So there's 500 feet. Just make sure we're clear of the runway, which we are. Left turn coming in. Fewer people know how to fly VFR. Yeah, 100%. VFR is where it's at, lad. If you can nail VFR stuff, IFR stuff, incredibly easier. Okay, 105 knots for us. Left turn. There's a runway. See a Naughty down there. Get the speed up here a bit, Murph. So we'll give him a shout at midfield once again. Let's get the altitude up where we need it. There should be. Left turn. It is good to see you. So there's our pattern altitude achieved. Don't blow through it. You're absolutely fine, plus or minus 50, 100 feet. I'm not going to give out over that. All right, straighten up. This is a little bit tighter. We'll keep it at this. Trim is your friend here, lads. And because I'm going a little bit faster, my workload increases. Just remember that. The slower you are, the better. Just makes life a little bit easier. Know what I mean? So we're going to wait until we're midfield, then we'll give him a shout. Easy does it now. And November 235 Romeo Mike, midfield.
235 Romeo Mike, runway 6, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, runway 6, November 235 Romeo Mike. Alright. Now there's an Audi known behind me. I'm on midfield, he's still on the outbound leg. Callis, this is the Gabrielle BK-160. It's from Flying Fries. It's a brand new aircraft and it's absolutely spectacular. So remember, lads, so we're on the downwind. Our next leg is going to be turning base. Now, see what I mean by a 45-degree angle? So I'm going to wait until that runway is pretty much aligned with me looking over me left shoulder. Yeah? We're not there yet, but we nearly are. That makes sense?
Hello there.
Alba, welcome in. That's kind of okay-ish. That's about 45 degrees. Left turn coming in. We're turning left base. And remember, we're cleared for the option. So we're going to start dropping a bit of altitude now on this one because, well, we need to drop altitude. We're going to be doing a touch and go. Now I'm using my compass, the heading indicator. That's going to give me a huge help here, so I can see directly from that when I've done a 90-degree turn, and then I can visually inspect to say, yeah, we're now on the base leg, we're flying in, speed's a little bit high, let's cool the jets here a little bit. We're coming down now to about 500 feet, keep easing it in, power's coming back, and we're going to be turning final here very shortly because we're carrying more speed on this leg, yeah? There we go, coming to 500 feet. And it's all about judging your final. So we're turning final now. Let's swing it in there. That's why I like this airplane, lads. Look at the visibility that you have. Like, it's incredible. That was a little bit tight there now. Right, approach is good. Speed is looking good. Notch your gears with a bit of flaps. Maintain the power.
301 Bravo, midfield downwind leg.
So not
301 Bravo, traffic following is on a mile final, runway 6, clear for the option number 2.
So we're going to help him out.
Traffic in sight cleared for the option on runway 6. We'll be going for a full stop landing for this one, please.
301 Bravo, roger.
So this is our second pass. We'll do one more and then we'll land it. We'll do an extra one for good luck. Even though it says 3 circuits, it's the more you see this, guys, the better. The main thing I want you to take away from this, don't ever be afraid of it. Gear down, flaps are set, we're on approach, touchdown zone. See those big white markers on either side of the runway about, you know, a quarter of the way down? That's my aiming point, so that's what I want to hit. So, don't worry about the soft finesse landings here. Accuracy, this is accuracy. That's why training aircraft tend to be quite rugged. They can take a bit of a baiting. Alright, touch it down. There's our touch. Power coming in. Regain our speed, keep it on the centre line, bit of right rudder as we're doing it. There's 66, upsie daisy, positive rate of climb, gear up, and we accelerate as we climb, heading back to 500, then we'll go for a left turn. There's a warning to say our flaps are down, bring our flaps in. Same crack again, I know that we need to report on the midfield, yeah? So keep climbing. Never turn on the pattern before you clear the end of the runway. And it's an easy mistake you can make. Make sure you have passed that runway threshold before you turn. If you're at 500 or 600 before you do that, you're shagged. Because it means you can end up turning and you're not on the correct crosswind leg. So just bear that in mind, right? So we're looking good now. There's 500 feet. Quick look behind me. We're close enough to the runway. We'll extend it out a little bit. And now we'll start our left-hand turn. So that's 2 touch and goes done. We're on the way to 1,000 feet for this, making sure we've just completed our 90-degree turn, which is roughly there. Quick look back at the airport. There at GB now. We're on the crosswind. Continue to climb. Speed is looking good. Straighten up the wings. Timmy Dodd, good to see you, man. Hello from Tipperary. Hope you're well. Now again, we're listening, but we're also watching. There could be other aircraft somewhat in the vicinity that haven't reported into ATC. As you know, as pilots, we got to keep an eye out for this, right? Now, on our avionics, as I said, there is ADSB. I mean, we can have traffic alerts. It'll start like shouting at you if things go askew. Traffic, traffic. You ever hear that? Well, that's what it is. It's traffic alerts. So our pattern altitude, there's a runway about a mile-ish to our left. Naughty Gnome is on the ground. He's
301 Bro, welcome back. Contact ground on 132.5. Good day.
Over to ground on 132.5. Good day.
November 235 Romeo Mike, midfield.
November 235 Romeo Mike, runway 6, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, runway 6 for November 235 Romeo Mike. Alright, we do it again. Is it starting to sink in a little bit, lads? We're aiming for around 1,000 feet. We're like, we don't have to be like savage accurate with the pattern. Like you're not on rails. The wind is going to blow you off course. You're going to be like me and get distracted by flashing lights and, oh, look at that cloud, and, oh, jeez, there's a signpost, oh, look at the trees. Right, it can happen. But just keep it close to, or as close to. See the way I've gained an extra 80 feet there just by acting the muppet. Do you know what I mean? Now, we're hooning it now. Our speed is picking up. This aircraft, as I said, I highly recommend this one only because, well, it'll get you out of trouble if you need it. It's powerful. And it's relatively easy to fly, but it's the visibility on this thing. There's nothing blocking our vision. You know what I mean? We'll put this down to a bit of turbulence there now. So remember, again, we're looking for a 45 degree over our left. That'll do our left turn coming in. Drop the nose a bit. We can start descending because we need to get back down to our approach altitude. There's a left turn coming in. Watch the speed. She'll probably jump forward on us. Left turn is looking good. Nice and easy. Watch the rate of descent. We don't want to get on the ground just yet. Start leveling the wings off. Usually about 10 degrees before we get back to where we're going. That's good to me. So get the speed into the white arc. So we know it's going to be safe to start deploying flaps and gears. And we're visual for 06. Look out, there's a set of flying crocs. Epic Phil, good to see you. Right, gear coming down. Not to flaps. And we'll start our turn here to the left. Just remember, when you drop the landing gear and you add flaps, that adds an incredible amount of drag to the aircraft. So you want to be on the power, ready to respond to that. Because it can drop you out the sky. Like it just can. So we came in a little bit shallow here. We're a little bit low. So let's just ease off. Speed is looking good. But it's only through practice. Keep practicing. You'll get used to it. You'll figure out how it all works. Now, pattern work, it is repetitive, but it's never boring because you have to bring your A game. You just have to, especially VFR flights. For the second flight we're going to do now in a couple of minutes, lads, that's an actual flight, cross country, taking off at one airport, heading to another airport. That's going to be different. Eyes stay out the window, and with a bit of flight following to help us along, it's going to be fun. But we got to be aware of other traffic. And ATC will be on the blower saying, hey, this is a new frequency. Hey, you need to do this. Hey, you know, you need to do that. So that's where the workload starts picking up. Right, gear is down, prep full, one flap set, go 2 for this one. We're picking up a bit of speed. There's our touchdown zone. Abo92 is here. Good to see you, man. So this is going to be our last touch and go. We'll call a full stop once we get back up to that midpoint. Easy now. And remember, lads, don't be going for the butterly smooth. Get your accuracy up there first. My touchdown zone are those big white markers. That's where I want to make contact with the ground. So easy does it. Drop her in. She floated a bit. Power coming back. Bit of right rudder. Keep it on the center. There's 66. Yep, see daisy. Positive rate of climb, and we're indicating that climb. Gear up. Once again, fly the runway heading. Keep the cowling on the horizon. We're climbing nicely. That's just a warning with our gear not down under 80 knots. Drop the nose. There she goes. Flaps in, get rid of all the drag, and we continue to climb. The beauty about this, lads, you have all week to catch up on this flight at any time of the day. Once you see the guys online, or jump on now, don't be afraid of it. You're only doing pattern work. There is a script there. They're telling you what to say and how to say it. And because this is aimed at wings, the controllers are extremely helpful and patient. They're not going to give out to you. They're not going to shout at you. Alright, first left turn coming in. We've passed the old runway there. Easy now. Always pick an airplane you're familiar with. Like, I'm not worried about managing the aircraft. I'm just sitting back here enjoying it. I'm just flying the gadget, yeah? There's our airport on the left hand side, coming up to 1,000 feet. Another left hand turn coming in. But pick an aircraft you are most comfortable with, yeah? And if you do have an interest in this, sort of stuff, Scully, welcome in. We're going to be, or Skullsy, you're very welcome. Wait till you start doing this with choppers. It is some crack. Left turn coming in. At the pattern altitude, keep the nose down. Turning nicely, speed is picking up.
Nantucket Tower, November 1286 Alpha, taxiing via Echo to runway 6.
November 1286 Alpha, Nantucket Tower, wind 060 at 12S17,
Hey,
on departure
make
make left closed traffic, report midfield downwind, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 6, make contact left downwind for November 1286 Alpha.
And November 235 Romeo Mike is midfield and looking for a full stop landing.
235 Romeo Mike, roger runway 6, clear to land.
Clear to land runway 6 for November 235 Romeo Mike. Alright, we got our clearance. We'll continue on with the pattern. We don't just turn now and aim for the runway, right? We got to continue our pattern. So we're going to keep flying downwind. We're going to wait until the airport is at a 45-degree angle, and then we're going to be turning left base. Grand Daniel, we're actually using VATSIM this evening. This is part of the Wings course. But the idea is try and have as much fun with this as you possibly can, lads, because you're learning every minute when you're flying an aircraft in the sim. And when I say flying, you're hand flying it. Every minute you spend doing that, you're learning that aircraft. As Colonel Fork says, you're building this muscle memory. It becomes second nature. It just becomes more comfortable to fly it. Do you know what I mean? All right, we went a little bit high there. Let's turn in. Easy does it now. So left turn. We can start dropping off some of that altitude. We went a little bit high. Now once we drop the gear, we need to make sure all our lights are on. I think I forgot that the last time. Now we are clear to land. I'm not expecting an obstruction down there. I am aware of another aircraft, so we're going to keep our eye out there, right? Naughty Gnome, thank you for the gifted sub. So as we continue to descend here, a little bit bumpy now. Drop the gear, notch your flaps, and keep an eye out for our final approach coming in. Watch that speed. Come down here, get our lights on. We're looking good. Eyes out the window. Start our final turn. Watch the speed. This is the Gabrielle from Flying Fries. It's a brand new general aviation aircraft. It's very, very nice. It's very, very nice. So there should be nothing on that runway. But again, it's my job to keep an eye out. Tower is there, but God forbid they make a mistake or they forget. Jesus. You're the pilot. You got to see it. And like, he could tell me to go around. So I got to expect that. He could say, go around. Oh, balls, off we go. We have to go around. Execute a missed approach. Or go around. You execute a go around. Or we could have a problem. We're just not stable. We'll abort the landing. That can happen too. Now we are planning a full stop, so prop full, mixture rich, gear down, flaps fully set. And we'll just kind of sink this one in and see what happens. PH Depot, good to see you, man. This is just Wings 1. We're going to do Wings 2 after this, mate. Alright, watch your power. Speed is looking good. try and make life a little bit easier here. So once we hit the touchdown, I'm going to see can I get off on the first taxiway, and then at that stage it's going to be back over the ground and they're going to say, hey, you know, taxi to wherever. So let's see what we can do. My 6 looking good. We're going to touch down just before our aiming point because I want to make that exit. Alright. Got the power, hold the nose. Touchdown.
Nantucket Tower, November 1286 Alpha, reporting midfield, runway 6.
November 1286 Alpha, wind 060 at 12, gust 17, runway 6, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, runway 06 for November 1286 Alpha.
November 235 Romeo Mike, contact Nantucket ground 132.5.
Hello there.
Over the ground 132.5 for November 235 Romeo Mike. Thanks so much. Alrighty, swap frequencies. Get those flaps in. Get our landing lights off. Get the strobes off so we're not blinding people. And we want to taxi back. Alright. Nantucket ground, November 235 Romeo Mike has vacated 6 onto Delta. Request taxi to parking.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Nantucket ground. You can taxi parking via Echo Charlie. Congrats on passing VFR 1.
Taxi Echo and Charlie for GA parking, and many thanks for 5 Romeo Mike. There we go. So that's the VFR flight. The first VFR flight for Wings complete. There we go. Now, the next one is going to be a bit of crack, lads, because what we do on the next one, well, that's a flight, right? That's a cross-country flight. And we're going to spend a few minutes planning it, then we're going to go off and do it. All right? So I can see Naughty Gnome over there, so we'll park up beside him. Easy does it now. So left turn coming in. And again, we got to be scanning the ground. We're watching for other traffic all the time. Like all the time, yeah? Now this is the FBO ramp, but there's plenty of room here for us. Was it? Alright, we'll edge our way forward here. That'll do her. Alright, parking brake on. Bring that power back. Squawk machine can now be off. Enter. And we can start powering our stuff down here now. So taxi lights can come off. If I can even see them with the shadow. There we go. Taxi lights are off. Auxiliary fuel booster can come off. Pitot heat can come off. And we'll go ahead and kill the mags. Let some air in. We can think about life here for the moment. And for this, we'll just do a quick disconnect of the battery and we'll calm down for a few moments. So that's the first Wings flight, lads, right? Now, hopefully you're happy enough with it. You understand the theory behind it, right? You can stay on VATSIM for a moment. I'd always suggest folks learn to do pattern work as part of learning a new aircraft. It not only sharpens pattern skills, but it provides a good way to get familiar with an aircraft. 100%. 100%, Colonel Fork. So, here's someone else doing the flight now. You see they're coming in, look. They're in a Comanche, lads. Look at this. Bendy, good to see you, man. Hope you're well. So here comes a Comanche. He's doing pattern work. So you get the idea, right? Our next flight is going to be a little bit more interesting, right? So for the moment, let's just disconnect from the network for the minute, because we want to focus now on the Wings 2 flight. And what we're going to do here, lads, this is going to involve a cross-country flight element. So we're going to be flying from Nantucket, and we're going to be heading over to Quonset, right? That's what we're heading for, right? You do have gear down, Naughty Gnome. Nice. All right, so we got to plan this flight, all right? So we have ATC. And we don't have a tower over there, but we have ATC. So let's look at some flight planning. And let's look at the flight itself. So let's get the briefing, lads. Any questions so far, just let us know. If you are new here, ramble on over to our Discord, ! Discord. If you've an interest in any of this is where you ask your questions. Also, navigate over to twotonemurphy.com. This is where we have our own ground school document. It's 271 pages of stuff. But the idea is we're trying to make it as easy to follow as possible, focusing more on the voice procedure, what to say, when to say it, how to say it, yeah? But we also provide the information about all the different airspaces and the rules that kind of govern what we're doing. This is all part of the FAA conversion course that we're working on, all right? So, my system sounds are very low. I don't know what I did to do that. We just got to follow. Rahaso, thank you very much indeed. So, that's all available for you there for free, right? For free. Now, so the Wings flight, we have completed Wings 1. Great news altogether. And if we wanted to, we can go in and actually have a look at our pilot ratings, right? So let's have a quick look. I'm logged in as me. So if I come down here, well, I'm going to find me. There I am. There's my name there, lads. That's my real name. Shock. And I have, look, I've 4 of these done. So I can say, right, I've done the pre-flights 1, 2, and 3. They're now complete. And now we're doing the VFR 1 flight. All right. There's 30 flights here, lads. It's phenomenal what they've done.
Hello there.
So what we need to look at now is flight number 2. All right. Run Gun, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in, man. All right. So VFR 1, the traffic pattern, that is now complete. Larry Gopnik, how are you? His name is Morph. In this one, this is VFR 2, and it's VFR navigation and flight following. In the second Wings flight, it's time to fly somewhere. You're going to put the skills you learned in the previous flight about the traffic pattern to work on a VFR flight from Nantucket over to Quonset Airport. The process, you're going to learn about obtaining flight following, selecting an appropriate VFR cruise altitude for your direction of flight, and also brush up on your traffic pattern knowledge. Well, let's go in and have a quick look. There's a full briefing here. They're going to tell us everything we need to know. Let's just go in and quick kind of jump in, right? So, while VFR aircraft are always responsible for maintaining separation from other aircraft and terrain, well, ATC can assist with these tasks. It's through a service called flight following. Now, anyone who's flown in Europe, they call it a basic service or a radar service. In the States, it's flight following. When a pilot requests flight following, the controller identifies the aircraft on radar in order to provide traffic advisories, weather updates, and other helpful information as necessary. You're not guaranteed to get flight following. If the controller is very busy, he just doesn't have time to keep an eye on you. Thus, as a pilot, we must always remember they have a bigger workload than we do. So even though we do have flight following, only ever treat flight following as an additional set of eyes. They're not, a get out of jail free card. They're not the safety net. They're just there to assist. All right. Now, it can help in busy airspace. Of course it helps. But just be aware of that. You're not giving them the headache. You've got the headache, but they're going to help you out if they can. All right. When departing Class Charlie or Class Bravo airports, VFR aircraft actually receive radar services automatically. It's very similar to what you have with flight following. However, the radar services are then usually cancelled or terminated by the controller once you're clear of any applicable airspace or issues, unless the pilot, of course, has requested. You've requested this, right? So many rules there is, but they're not too bad. They make sense. The more you kind of read into it, and you know what I mean, it makes a bit of sense, right? So, flight following can be requested at any point during your VFR flight. You don't just have to ask for it before you take off. I mean, you could be airborne and suddenly, hey, I want this guy to give me a bit of flight following. Let's say, for example, you're on a VFR flight, out the Midwest somewhere, and it's all nice and quiet, but then all of a sudden there's an event relatively close and you've got a whole load of aircraft now in your vicinity. That's when I'm just kind of going this direction. Can I get a bit of flight following? Right, so you can request it mid-air as well. So if you're on the ground, the call is going to be something like this: Nantucket ground, November 235 Romeo Mike, request taxi VFR departure to Quonset at 4,500 flight following. There's a couple of things we need to be careful here as a pilot. In America, they don't refer to altitude in feet, as in they don't say feet. In Europe, you got to say feet. Otherwise, they'll think there's something wrong with you. In America, they don't bother with that. You just say 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 9,000, and then you go into your flight levels, yeah? But you don't have to say altitude 2,000 feet. They know it's feet. They don't use meters. That makes sense? Right. We'll use anything but the metric system, right? The controller would then shout back and say, okay, this is Nantucket ground, runway 6, taxi via Foxtrot Echo, departure frequency will be on 118.2, and they're giving it a squawk code. So you notice you have a departure frequency. All right, so when I depart, it's an automatic handover. I now talk to departure, and they're giving it a squawk code. Because you want flight following, they don't want just to see, a 1200 VFR aircraft. They want to know who they're talking to. Hence, they're going to give you a squawk code. Again, if you don't know what squawks are, it's all in our ground school manual. The whole thing, lads, all right? So, if you've already departed the airport and, maybe it was an untowered airport, and all of a sudden you want to talk to, Boston Center, and you want to ask them, well, that could be simple. It'll be, Boston Center, November 235, Romeo Mike, VFR request. They'll jump back on November 235 Romeo Mike, Boston Center. Go ahead. Go ahead. Or, say request or transmit, whatever. November 235 Romeo Mike is type Gabrielle 160, roughly where you are. You would like VFR flight following to Quonset at, 5,500. They'll confirm it. They'll give you a squawk. You'll read back the squawk. Then after a few moments, they should be on the blower saying, November 235 Romeo Mike, radar, contact. They got you. Now, they might ask you, and this is where real world stuff comes in, they might ask you to ident, add end. That threw me for friggin' 6 on Pilot Edge. I didn't know what he was saying. I couldn't, his accent was really heavy. And I was like, what the hell is he saying? November 235 Romeo Mike, add end. Den. What the hell's an IDEN? What's an IDEN? I don't have an IDEN of an iPad. I didn't know what he meant. And all he was telling me was, because his traffic was so busy, he just had loads of little dots on his radar. When you hit an ident, or the ident button on your transponder, it starts flashing. As in, your aircraft will start flashing on his radar screen. It's sending out a pulse, and so it beeps or flashes, yeah? You'll often hear it say, if you listen to real-world pilots, they'll say, ident, yeah, flash in the box. You'll hear all of these different things, but that's what they're talking to. That's what they're talking about. All right. Anyway, flight following is completely optional, and it must be explicitly used. Sorry, flight following is a completely optional service that must be explicitly requested by VFR aircraft. ATC will not provide it unless you ask for it. VFR aircraft are encouraged to request flight following regularly because of the additional level of safety that is provided. Flight following is available to VFR aircraft on a workload permitting basis. Therefore, lads, if a controller is too busy handling IFR stuff, requests for flight following may occasionally be denied. And it's not because they don't like you. They'll just tell you flight following unavailable or not able. They're going to tell you, shag off, I'm too busy. But don't take it personal. It's their workload. Before beginning any flight, it is important to conduct a thorough flight planning process, which includes gathering the appropriate charts, checking the weather. For this one, it's going to be getting our frequencies. This rating is going to take us on a VFR flight from Nantucket over to Quonset Airport, and we're going to request flight following from ATC for the duration of the flight. First, we must plan a route between the two airports using the VFR sectionals. We're going to go through that now at a moment. You can use free stuff with SkyVector or use Navigraph. All right. A screenshot of the New York sectional is already included if you want to follow that route, but we're going to have a look at this ourselves. All right. The last decision to make before choosing a cruising altitude: when you're flying VFR above 3,000 feet, your cruise altitude must be on the thousands plus 500 feet. So for VFR flights eastbound, you fly at an odd altitude plus 500. So for heading eastbound, we fly at a odd altitude plus 500 feet. All right. So that's 2,500, 4,500, 6,500. You get the idea. Even? No, it's not. Odd. Jesus. It's 1,500, 3,500, 5,500. It's the odd numbers plus 500. If you're flying westbound, we're going westbound, you fly at an even altitude plus 500. That's your, 2,500, 4,500. You get the idea, right? Because the flight from Nantucket over is westbound, you're going to need to cruise at an even altitude plus 500 feet. So let's have a look at flight planning this devil. We can use SkyVector, which is free. I'm going to bring up Navigraph. And let's go in here and have a look at it. Let's have a look at it, right? So turn off the ATC here for the moment. So I'm looking at the charts. So I have some stuff turned on here. Now I can turn off all this stuff if we want, right? So go away, go away, go away. Well, I can turn that on, but you can see it on the VFR sectionals. So we're going to be flying from Nantucket, all right? So we're going to click on this guy. Let me see. New flight. We're going to select this guy. KACK. So we're going from Nantucket, and we got to head all the way over to Quonset, which is going to be KOQU, or Kilo Oscar Quebec Uniform. All right. Now we already know runway 6 is active. I already know this, right? Grand Wazoo, thank you very much indeed, my man. Welcome in. Jesus, 17 months, Grand Wazoo. That's incredible, dude. Thank you very much indeed. So we already know runway 6 is active. That could change. So our flight is going to take us from the island where Nantucket is. We're going over Martha's Vineyard. Nice. And then we're going to be rambling in over here. Now we've got to be very careful, lads, because you have all these mad different colour lines. You're saying to yourself, but the Jesus then, how do we figure this one out, right? So for clarity, well, let's have a look here. Now see the way this is all inside the TAC? So you can actually get a more detailed map looking at the TAC, right? So we're going to be taking off from Nantucket. And we're going to be flying over Martha's Vineyard. Now, looking at Martha's Vineyard, what are we actually looking at here? So see this magenta colour? That's indicating, oh, hang on, this is actually a type of airspace. Yeah? Remember all the different airspaces we've learned? So let's go in here and figure out our airspace. So we'll open up this little gadget here, and we're going to go to our airspace. FAA. All right. So what in the name is it? Well, it looks to be probably Echo, I'd say. Class Bravo, Class Charlie, Delta, Class Echo. They look similar, yeah? Class Echo. Okay, what do we need to know about Class Echo? Class Echo airspace is controlled airspace that isn't Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, or Delta. It's depicted on the sectional chart in a couple of ways. From the surface, a thin dashed magenta line from 700 feet, a thick shaded magenta line, and then 1200 shaded cyan. Few examples. So we can see the crack, it's Echo, right? What do we need to know about it? In most places within the US, Class Echo airspace extends from 1200 feet up to, but not including, 18,000. The airspace above that is also Class Echo, as in above flight level 600, 60-odd thousand feet. We're never going up there, right? There are some areas where the Class Echo airspace begins at either the surface or 700. All right, don't need to worry about it for the moment. Flight rules. No ATC clearance is required for VFR flights inside the Echo airspace, and pilots of all ratings are allowed. No altitude encoding transmitter is required either, unless you're going to go above 10,000. In the traffic pattern, recommended speed is below 200. AGL or MSL. AGL is above ground level. MSL is the mean sea level. There is a difference. You want to be careful about it. If your aircraft has 2 altimeters, set 1 for barrow, 1 for ground. That's what I did. That's what I always did in the real life. In the Cessna I flew, there was 2 altimeters. I always kept, my main one was on barrow and the other one was on ground. Always did that. It was just handy, right? Anyway, don't worry too much about the weather on this one. So let's have a look. So we're going to fly out of here, and we know we have ATC coverage. Then we're going to fly over here. Now you might be saying, Jesus Murph, we're flying into an airport, because see this here? This is not just Echo. There's an airport in there, and that's a Class Delta, because when we know by the colour, and it says Class Delta, right? So what do we know here? What can you tell me by looking, if we're flying directly over Martha's Vineyard? Because there's a VOR here. There's a VOR station. See the outer ring? That's just giving you a VOR, because you can see all these numbers. These are the bearings, or in, VOR, these are the radials, okay? The airport or the tower is inside of that. Now, here's the ticket. We're going to be flying probably at 4,500 feet. Probably, right? Because I want a good view. And that's, for me, that'll be all right. 4,500 feet. Looking at the chart here, do you all see this 26 number? Everyone see this number, yeah? That's telling us that this class Delta airspace belonged to Martha's Vineyard Tower is from the surface up to 2,600 feet, 2,600 feet. Therefore, anything below 2,600 feet on the ground, that is inside his airspace. If we're at 4,500 feet, what does that mean? We're not in his airspace. Yeah,
Hello there.
we're above it. So we don't need to worry about this now. We're not actually entering his airspace. We're flying above it. Does that make sense? 2,600. You'll see it on every little area. If it's class Echo, it's going to say if it's class Charlie, it's going to be like surface up to, 4,100. These are hundreds of feet. You'll always see hundreds of feet. 1,700, 4,100. All right? The airport that we're landing at, 2,500 feet. To the ground. That's his airspace. All right? Outside of that, we're not in his airspace. Okay. Let's say, for example, the weather wasn't great. Let's see this blue color here. That's probably marginal VFR, right? Green is grand, blue, not great. Red, it's shagged, and purple or pink, it's completely shagged. So the green icons you see on the map, they're letting you know it's VFR and it's grand. The green ones. The blue ones, it's marginal VFR. Red, it's IFR, and the purple, it's low visibility IFR. As in like hundreds of feet visibility. That's what the colors mean on SkyVector, right? Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. Let's say, for example, that the cloud cover was at 2,000 feet. There was a ceiling at 2,000 feet. But we can't go above the clouds. We need minimum distance from the clouds to fly VFR. So what if we had to fly at 2,500 feet? Sorry, let's say, I got that wrong. Let's say the clouds were at 3,500 feet, yeah? Overcast 3,500. So we're going we're going westbound, so it's going to be even plus 500. So we're now going to fly at 2,500 to stay under that cloud. If we fly into this area at 2,500 feet, we are now entering this airspace. Therefore, we need to ask permission. Yeah? Because we're flying inside his airspace. That's don't go in there without talking to them. Do you know what I mean? And because you have flight following, more than likely they'll tell you to contact now Martha's Vineyard on, 121.4. Brilliant. But if you didn't have flight following and you were rambling across, sure, isn't this only lovely? You daren't go in there if you're below 2,600 feet. That makes sense? Kinda, sorta. Don't worry if it goes over your head. We're going to be doing a lot more of these. You're going to be very familiar with this. Airspace is probably 70% of this entire transition course. It's the airspace. It's figuring out what we can and what we can't do. And once you know that, once you know the rules, it's very easy to apply that set of, solutions to what your flight is going to be. All right, Martha's Vineyard is sound. We're going to fly over it at 4,500 feet. Okay, let's look at our destination. It's here, right? Quonset State Airport. This is where we're flying to, lads. Now, this is in a total mess altogether because there's all sorts of icons here. Let us not ruin ourselves just yet. Let's say we're going to fly from Nantucket and we're going to go to Quonset and we've decided we're going to fly over Martha's Vineyard. It's actually the VOR, right? All right. So we're flying along lovely. We're not really in anyone's airspace. Here's the class Echo again. Not too worried about that. But this is where things get tricky. What class airspace is this? Because it's belonged to Providence in Rhode Island. Yeah? Anyone know what class of airspace this little ticket is? Now, we can refer to our manual. We can go in and have a read of it. Yeah? So, what class airspace is this? Well, it's not D, because that's blue. Ooh, is it C? Is it C, we wonder? Yeah? Class C. Look at that colour. Class C, type of airspace that surrounds large airports. All right. So it's telling us. Class C also resembles the upside down cake. So this is Class Charlie. Cranberry. C for, very good, PhD Depot. C for Cranberry. So this is a Class Charlie. Let's look at us now. Because we're navigating and we're flight planning. This is where you want to really start kind of figuring out the flight. We have a VOR station over Martha's Vineyard. So the first leg of our flight is going to be easy because you'll identify it as a friggin' airport. That's a visual reference point. But you also have a backup because you can use your instruments on the VF or the VOR to confirm you're flying to that station. Brilliant. After that, we're flying all the way in. But see how close our class Delta is to the class Charlie. This entry point here is a little bit tight. If there was heavy winds, we'd easily drift off. We'd end up shooting into the class Charlie airspace. That would be bad, right? So to make life easier, we'll come in a little bit here from the south. This is just flight planning. Flight planning, yeah? If you come in by the south, ideally, you want to be hitting the class Delta long before you have to worry about class Charlie, yeah? This just comes into your flight planning. So, yes, you could, of course, go in that way, but look how much of a gap you have. You have very little, very, very little before you leave your airspace and you're drifting into his airspace. And you can't do that. If you go into their airspace, you know, if you make a mistake, you make a mistake. But by and large, if you violate airspace in the real world, you get fined. They give out to you. Take your wings off you and all this crack. Yeah? VATSIM, you're probably just not going to have a great day. So how do we, as pilots, how do we flight plan our navigation to be not having to be terrified going, oh, Jesus, am I near that Charlie airspace? I don't know. I can't see it. We don't want that. Let's make life easier. Okay. Let's look at our VFR sectional map. What can we see things? See all these little flags everywhere? See all the flags? These are visual reference points. The charts are saying, hey, there's something here you can look at. All right, well, what have we got? So we've airports. That's a flag. We've bridges, right? Here's a friggin' pier. You'll probably see golf courses, lakes, all this sort of stuff. And because Microsoft Flight Sim is a VFR out-of-the-box sim, well, let's take advantage of it. Let's make life handy. Look at this. Here's a bridge at 415. It's a huge bridge, massive bridge. This is the Newport Bridge. All right, what does the Newport Bridge look like? Newport Bridge. Is it Rhode Island? Newport Bridge, Rhode. Now, be the Jesus, is that it there? Like, Jesus, lads, you can't miss that. No, that's not right, is it? Portland, hang on. Is that it? Pell Bridge, hello, is that it? Jesus, lads, we're not going to miss that anyway. We tend to fly under the shagging thing. We're not going to miss that. What a great VFR landmark for us. We're going to spot that from miles away, aren't we? We just are, lads. Look at the size of it. You gotta love America. Right. So that's going to be a visual reference point for us. Well, let's go in and have a look. So we're going to say, well, tell you what, if we fly in over that bridge down here, yeah, plan it in. Now look what this does. That gives us a much safer entry. We'll enter the class Delta. We'll be talking to them long before we need to worry about class Charlie. Look at the different rules it's giving us here. The chart for the class Charlie, we can see it's divided. And here we go, Bob Ross special now, right? Remember what we're saying, how all this stuff looks like because it is like a wedding cake, yeah? Jesus, Murphy. Use that colour. It's a brush. It's a marker. Just give us a bit of thickness there now. Hi. Right. So this is what it looks like. You'll have to excuse me, terrible drawn. Here is the airspace that immediately surrounds the tower. Yeah? Surface to what is it? 4,000 feet, is it? 4,100 feet. 4,100. Yeah? From the ground to 4,100. Then it does something like this. Yeah? It does something like this, right? So your 4,100 stays the same, right? And this is what I'm saying. This is where, like, the upside down wedding cake, it's tiered, yeah? So if I do a better drawing than that, that won't make you question, why didn't Murph do friggin', you know, art in school or something, right? Have I not just a paintbrush? Just, no, give me a... It's going to look something like this. Oh, Jesus, Murph, that's terrible. Oh, Jesus, lads. Where's the thickness of the stupid thing? Who here can work this gadget? Right. Here's the cylinder thingy that we call it. That's the tower. But the higher you get up, you have this kind of upside down wedding cake kind of a thing. Yeah? And so on, and so on, and so on. Does that make sense? That's how airspace works. We're on the ground down here, lads. Yeah? This is us. We're that little dot. The closer you get to where the ATC is, that's where, you know, the altitude becomes from the ground up. Then once you start pushing out of the areas, you're now entering, well, you know, below this line and below that line. Well, if you're out here or out there, you're not in his airspace. You're just not there. If you were up here, well, once you stay below this line and don't venture into this area, you're not inside his airspace, right? Bob Ross, I need to watch more of that. That's what this icon is showing us. The center circle, think of that as this single friggin', you know, part of the wedding cake. That's the cylinder. That's from the surface up to 4,100 feet. See to the left of it, see these lines? So they're telling you, well, this airspace will start at 1,700 feet and it goes up to 4,100. Oh, so if we're like at 1,000 feet, we're below it? Yep, you're not in his airspace. But if you venture into the inner circle, you're in his airspace because that says surface. Nice. What about the one on the right-hand side? Well, this is slightly different. That starts at 1,300 feet and it goes up to 4,100 feet. All right. So we've more room to maneuver on the left side. We've less room to maneuver on the right side. But if we went in at 1,000 feet, we're technically not in his airspace. Here's where the real world stuff comes back in. Flying over built up areas, urban areas, there's usually minimum distance between you and the ground, usually of plus or minus 1,000 feet. So depending on the ground elevation here, which probably isn't much, but even if it's like 200 or 300 feet, that means you're now over that altitude. So that's why that's just too tight for me for planning. But you can absolutely do it if you wish. But for me, nah. So what we're going to do, we're going to take off. We're going to fly from Nantucket over the VOR station at Martha's Vineyard. We're going to continue in. We have Cuddy Hook Harbour along the way. There's a harbour. We're going to fly over a harbour so we can actually add this harbour to our flight plan. Why, lads? See the flag? That's a VOR landmark. VFR landmark. It's a VFR landmark. Yeah? All right. As we continue along, then, we keep flying on a rough heading of, call it, 298 degrees for, 20 miles, travelling at 100 knots, 20 minutes. That's going to bring us in towards Newport, and we will see that bridge. Now, there's also the Jamestown Bridge, and you have the Newport Bridge. There's two bridges here. Doesn't matter. Either or. We can go for either or. We're not fussy, right? So, that's what we're going to do. That's what our flight plan is going to look like. I always file VFR flight plans. That's just me. You don't have to. If you wanted to do one, the cheat to this, go into SimBrief, generate a flight. It's going to do it as an IFR flight, right? Don't worry. We're going from Nantucket. We're going to Quonset. It's over Martha's Vineyard. You then pre-file this onto the network. It'll appear as this. And this is where you change it then to VFR. All right? My call sign is November 235 Romeo Mike. I'm a VFR flight. Aircraft ICAO. I'm in the Gabrielle. Weight category light. Equipment on board. I don't need to worry about them. Again, it's in the ground school manual if you want to go nuts. Transponder. I have mode Charlie. Departing from Kilo Alpha Charlie Kilo, arriving at Kilo Oscar Quebec uniform, off the block at 2000. That's going to be now 2020. Altitude, we're going to select, because we're heading west, it's going to be even altitudes plus 500. We're going to go at 4,500 feet. All right. Airspeed, we'll probably cruise at about 120, give or take. Estimated time en route, 35 minutes. And we know we have sufficient fuel for about 2 hours of flying. All right. My route details are going to be in Nantucket, over Martha's Vineyard, over the Newport Bridge, and then it's going to be into Quonset. Date of the flight, registration of the aircraft, and the remarks down the very bottom behind me head, WINGS VFR flight number 2. That's what I'm telling them. File that. We should get a little note to say. Did it file? Didn't want to file. Let me refresh. Refreshing. We are VFR off the blocks at 2020. Altitude 4,500. Airspeed, call it 120. Estimated time en route 35. Well, probably allow for takeoff and all that. 45 minutes. We got enough fuel for 2 hours 15. And it's WINGS VFR number 2. Don't know why she didn't do that, but let's horse it in. November 235 Romeo Mike. That's correct. November 235 Romeo Mike. That's correct. We are VFR. We're in the Gabrielle. Don't know why it reset everything, but hey ho. I don't need an alternative. That looks good to me. File it. Flight plan filed. Brilliant. Brilliant. All right. It's put C172 in. No, I think we're good now. I think we're good. I've updated it there now. All right. My flight plan has now been logged. Lovely herding. Right. Let's go back into our lesson. So with all that information, you're now ready to begin your flight. We're going to start off at the ramp. We're going to contact air traffic control and we're going to request taxi instructions for a VFR flight over to Quonset with flight following. Like WINGS VFR 1, there's no need to file a flight plan, but I've just done one anyway. All right. Boston Virtual ATC. I'm working the approach sector. In the US, we do not see your VFR flight plan. While there's nothing wrong with filing, ATC will ask you for all that info again. Okay. Extra encoding. Thank you for that. So you can't see it. So that's the difference. On Euroscope, we see it. So in the States, you probably don't need to see it. But anyway, in the real world, it's always advised to file a flight plan, even for yourselves, lads, because VATSIM will keep a record of it. So it's a great flight log. In the real world, you need it because once you file your flight plan, the airports are going to know, obviously, what time to expect you. Or more importantly, if you were due in somewhere at like 4 o'clock and it's now 6 o'clock, you're missing. You're missing. So, you know, alert the hounds. Anyway, should you receive a departure instruction that corresponds to a leg of the traffic pattern, simply take off and begin flying the traffic pattern. After you establish yourself on the leg of the pattern, continue flying straight out until you're clear of the traffic pattern. So they could turn around and say, you know, left downwind departure approved. All right, so we climb as normal, left turn, and then we leave the pattern on the left downwind. That makes sense? At some point, ATC will state radar contact. That's after we ask for it. All right. And then if we want more information, there's a whole load of stuff here that Boston Virtual ARTCC have put in for us. So there's a ton of information here. They've given us a lot, but they haven't given us too much to make us kind of dizzy. There's enough on this to keep us going. All right. So what about this spiel? What do we say and how do we say it? Remember, they've already done it. If we're on the ground, we're going to be saying this bit. We know we have ATC here, so we're going to be saying that bit. All right? Right. Let's go back into the sim and let's get ourselves ready here. So my flight was going to be over Martha's Vineyard, and let's just add in now. We want to go over the drag you. We're going to go over the bridge. This is VFR, and we're at 4,500. And we were going to go over this little landmark here of the harbour. That looks good to me. And it's over Martha's Vineyard. That's my flight plan there. So I'm going to follow this on the screen here beside me. Is that fair enough, lads? Okay, right. Let us connect to the network. Connect. November 235 Romeo Mike in a Gabrielle. And let's see what happens. We should connect. We should start seeing some aircraft. And there's an unknown beside us. So before we go, let's get our aircraft up and running. So we're going to double check here things like our fuel. So our endurance, 98 litres. We'll top these up. So let me see. 50%. Let's go 90-90. 90-90. Copy. Apply. 90-90. That's 114 litres. We'll burn at probably 15 gallons an hour, maybe. So let's see what happens. Grand Daniel says, Murph, how do you define that 4,500? I mean, can you also go 6,500? Oh, absolutely. You can go 8,500. You can go 2,500. I'm picking 4,500 because I know that's going to clear me of any immediate airspace, right? The weather I have set to permits that. I'm not worried about flying in the clouds, all right? Let's just double check that now. Murphy's Law. What height does this cloud come in at? So altitude at the bottom. Yeah, so that's just, you know. There we go. I fixed it. Your weather is going to dictate the altitude in which you can fly. It always is. It always is. All right. So with that, trying to get the aircraft ready to rock. So I'm happy enough with that. That's okay. That's okay. Speeds. That's okay. They're okay. Go ahead and close this. Let's go ahead and get this canopy closed. Come hither. And we'll get our battery turned back on. Battery coming on. Secure the canopy, Murph. And, well, let's start doing a bit of homework now when it comes to the different radio frequencies. We're going to need those, lads. So let's zoom in here. We already know what we have for, whatchamacallit, for Nantucket. So here's the VOR at Martha's Vineyard. We want this. That's a nav frequency. All right? That's a nav frequency, lads. So, a bit of empty pop here. I hope this is making a bit of sense. And again, these videos, they're going to live on YouTube, so you can watch them back. You know what I mean? Right, so let me see. For Nantucket, then it's going to be over to the VOR at Martha's Vineyard, and that's going to be 114.5. Nice. Then, as we continue along, we could be getting ATC over here. So we'll just put in Quonset is going to be Quonset. Should be on 118.6 or 118.6. The main one for this, lads, we know we're going to be talking to... Who are we going to be talking to? Well, let's look at the ATC map and that'll tell us who we're talking to. Doesn't that make a lot more sense? Rather than trying to guess it. Nantucket is up. So we will be talking to Nantucket. And you can see here, Providence is up and running. Yeah, so Providence approach. If you've Boston approach, then you're going to have Providence approach. All right? So we're talking to two. So we're able to look at these. All right, let's get our frequencies. Boston approach is going to be 118.2. So Boston, 118.2. And then we move across because we will enter Providence approach. It's top down. Providence, PVD is going to be on 123.675. And outside of all of that, you have Boston Center. And that's 134.7. So we got plenty of stuff going on there, right? We got plenty of stuff. All right. Keep an eye on that. We can monitor what we're doing. And open up my Navigraph here now as well. Remember, lads, if this sort of content is your cup of tea, do be sure to hit the little like button on YouTube. It helps an awful lot. Right, okay, so we need to get the ATIS first. So let's go ahead and get the ATIS. 127.5. 127.5. Transfer.
The vicinity of the airport. Advise on initial contact. Give information echo.
Information echo. Let's have a listen, lads.
Nantucket Tower, ATIS information echo. 2053 Zulu. Wind 070 at 13, gust 20. Visibility 10. Ceiling 700 overcast. Temperature 5, 2.4. Altimeter 2972. ILS runway 6 in use. Landing and departing runway 6. Notice airmen, runway 6 approach lights out of service. Use caution for birds in the vicinity of the airport. Advise on initial contact. Give information echo.
Okay, that makes sense. We happy enough?
Nantucket Tower, ATIS information echo. 2053 Zulu. Wind
so
070
we'll go 132.5, and we're going to go ground frequency of... Sorry, tower will be 1183. All right, so we're on 132.5. That's the ground, and we were talking to tower next. So we're going to get our aircraft up and running first. So the altimeter, lads, 2972. Dial that in so we know what the crack is. All right. And, well, let's get ourselves set up here. So, auxiliary fuel pump coming on. Prop full, mixture rich. Open that gadget now. Fuel tanks are on. Anti-collision lights, nav lights are coming on. Squawk is on standby. That's quite okay. We check around the aircraft. Clear the prop. And let's go for start on this engine. Your magnetos would help you. Right, mags are on. We're good to go. You aren't on live weather, so press B instead. You're confusing me now. So my altimeter would want to be... My altimeter needs to be set to there on live weather, no? Am I doing that wrong? Because if they tell me a certain altitude and my altitude is not set to the barrow, my altitude is going to be something very different on their screen. Or am I doing that wrong? Keep it live weather altimeter. Yeah, it needs to match the weather you're simulating. Yeah, 100%. So the wind and the altimeter, keep that to what VATSIM is reporting. That makes sense? I hope so. Pedo Heat can come on while we're sitting here. Go. And we'll give a shout to ground, and we're going to ask him for the following. Are we ready? We're doing 4,500, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. Nantucket ground. Gabriel, November 235 Romeo Mike. Request taxi VFR departure to Quonset, 4,500. Flight following with information echo. I hope that worked.
November 235 Romeo Mike, departure frequency 118.2, squawk 5572.
Departure on 118.2, squawk 5572, November 235 Romeo Mike. Into the squawk box we go, 55.
November 235 Romeo Mike, read back correct, runway 6, taxi via Bravo, Echo.
Runway 6, taxi Bravo, Echo, November 235 Romeo Mike. Okay, squawk is squawking, and we're taxiing runway 6 via Bravo, Echo.
Nantucket ground, Diamond, November 301 Bravo, request taxi VFR departure to Bradley at 4,500 feet.
Straightforward.
Flight following Wings VFR 2.
Oh, I never said Wings VFR. Balls. Or did I?
November 301 Bravo, Nantucket ground. Could I get that aircraft type again?
Alright, off the brakes.
Diamond DA 42.
Taxi lights. Rambling. So
November 301 Bravo, departure frequency 118.2, squawk 4661.
Alright, let's see what happens, lads.
Frequency 118.2 and squawk 4661 for November 301 Bravo.
Are we all excited? I'm terrified.
November 301 Bravo, read back correct, runway 6, taxi via Echo.
Live weather wouldn't permit you on VFR.
November 6, taxi via Echo for November 301 Bravo.
You don't have VFR conditions, you know what I mean? And Nantucket ground, November 235 Romeo Mike, also requesting Wings VFR 2, please.
November 235 Romeo Mike, your Wings VFR 2 is approved.
Approved for 235 Romeo Mike, thanks. Such a difference it makes when you have controllers who know the stuff, but they're also friendly. We found that instantly when we were doing this stuff in Ireland with the VATSIM lads, with Adam and Josh and the lads. When you have someone who's friendly...
Good day, November 112 Juliet Hotel, Cessna 172 with Echo VFR departure to November Charlie Oscar, please.
He sounds hot. He's so damn hot right now. Brilliant. That was a wild
November 112 Juliet Hotel, Nantucket ground. Do you want flight following with that?
A firm, please. 112 Juliet Hotel.
He knows the stuff.
November 112 Juliet Hotel, you got a altitude in mind?
Apologies, 6,500, 112 Juliet Hotel. Correction, 4,500.
4,500. Right. Remember, make life easy. Heading bug is already set. Now, I can put into all of this, you know, GPS information. What was that VOR? 1145?
And November 112 Juliet Hotel, is this going to be for Wings VFR 2?
Negative.
November 112 Juliet Hotel, roger. Departure frequency 118.2, squawk 4710.
So Adam's doing the flight. He's not going to use it.
Departure with 118.2 and squawking 4710, November 112 Juliet Hotel.
He's just coming for the flight. He's not doing
November
the
2 Juliet Hotel, read back correct. Runway 6, taxi via Juliet Echo. Break November 235 Romeo Mike, contact tower 118.3.
Over to tower 118.3, November 235 Romeo Mike. There's a someone. Nantucket Tower, November 235 Romeo Mike on Echo for runway 06.
For 235 Romeo Mike, Nantucket Tower, hold short runway 6, landing traffic.
Hold short runway 6, 235 Romeo Mike. Yeah, so if you fail it, lads, and don't worry if you fail it. You learn when you fail stuff. If you fail it, they'll tell you why. They'll say, look, you know, this is where you went wrong. Maybe look at this other bit of information. Try that, try this. So don't worry if you fail it, right? I mean, it can happen. It can happen, rather. Right, we're going 4,500. In there you go, you divil it. And we are going to be holding short. So we want 4,500 feet. Flight director comes on. Autopilot's going to help me out on this one. We're going to hold short here as we are. Get ourselves ready for takeoff. Lights coming on. Strobes are coming on. Fuel is looking good. So we're just sitting tight. We will be putting this onto altitude reporting. And we just sit tight. First attempt in learning. There you go, Stu. There you go. It's busy. He's got a lot of traffic doing circuits. This is awesome. This is awesome.
Nantucket Tower, November 301 Bravo, holding short, runway 6.
There's
For
nothing.
301 Bravo, Nantucket Tower, roger.
So we've all filed
For
the same.
235 Romeo Mike, runway 6, line up and wait.
Line up and wait, runway 6, 5 Romeo Mike. Alright, altitude mode, squawking. Taxi into position, line up and wait. Not your flaps to take off. Right is clear. Left. Looks clear.
For 235 Romeo Mike, left downwind departure is approved. Wind 070 at 13, gust 20, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Clear takeoff, runway 6, left downwind traffic approved for November 235 Romeo Mike. Alright, makes sense. So we take off, it's going to be left downwind, then we just head on out of here, lads. Alright, get ourselves lined up, yeah. Looking good. We're walking, we're talking, we're squawking. Let's go
For
flying.
301 Bravo, runway 6, line up and wait.
Takeoff power set,
Line up and
airspeed
wait.
alive.
For November 301 Bravo.
The needle is moving. We're looking for about 67. Actually, we're looking for 70. We're a little bit heavier. Oopsie daisy. With a positive rate of climb. Gear up. Easy now.
Tower, good day, November 112 Juliet Hotel, Romeo 6 via Juliet.
For 112 Juliet Hotel, Nantucket Tower, roger.
I'm downwind requesting touch and go, Romeo Bravo 131.
Romeo Bravo 131, runway 6, clear for the option traffic departs prior to arrival.
Yeah, it's land, runway 6, Romeo Bravo 121, thank you.
Pops in.
For 301 Bravo, on course departure is approved. Wind 060 at 13, gust 20, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Left turn.
And course departure approved, clear for takeoff, November 301 Bravo.
I imagine I jump over to departure now, correct?
118.3, g'day.
18.3, g'day.
Nantucket approach, November 235 Romeo Mike, 1000 for 4,500. VFR to Quonset, flight following.
235 Romeo Mike, Boston approach, hello, radar contact.
Radar contact for 5 Romeo Mike. Wait till tower switches you. Too late. Balls. Well, it was departure on, so once we know what departure is, we know what the crack is. They'll probably give out to me.
235 Romeo Mike, traffic 12 o'clock, less than a mile, unknown type in the pattern.
Roger, looking for traffic, 5 Romeo Mike. Do we see him? Yeah, I see him. He's gone under me. He's gone above me. And 5 Romeo Mike has that traffic.
235 Romeo Mike, roger. Maintain visual separation from the traffic.
We'll maintain visual separation for November 235 Romeo Mike. Alrighty. I'm used to Dublin, yeah. If you know you're at the Class T boundary, you can do an auto switch, but it's generally good to wait for the handoff. Okay, great. Okay. Here we go. We've learned. Pete, thank you very much indeed.
235 Romeo Mike, proceed on course.
Proceed on course for November 235 Romeo Mike. All right. We learn. That's what it's all about. Because I do know in a lot of places, they'd be like, no, man, you talk to us and that's the end of it. You know what I mean? So that's good to know. So next time, wait until we're handed over. All right.
Boston approach, hello, November 301 Bravo.
To the lads at Nantucket.
301 Bravo.
Sorry
Boston,
about that, lads.
Approach. Hello, radar contact. Altitude indicates 2,100 feet.
Hey, found 2,100 feet.
The 301 Bravo traffic at your 11 to 12 o'clock, less than 1 mile. A Gabriel at 2,300. Report them in sight.
Have the traffic in sight, November 301 Bravo.
Right, push her on.
301 Bravo, roger.
So that's Naughty coming up behind me there, but we know where he is. We advise, then we switch. Okay. Grand Daniel says, using VOR or nav. So I VOR dialed in just to help me along, but I'm just using heading mode on the nav. Roughly where my course is. Now we can take the pressure off us, lads. We can select heading mode. We can engage the autopilot. Easy now. Easy now. So we're going to say autopilot. And we're going to be climbing. Let me see. Vertical speed. Up you go. Here's a climb for about 500 feet a minute. We're heading up to 4,500 feet. And we're kind of okay doing what we're doing. So when it comes to our visual reference points, again, we're going to be tracking the Martha's Vineyard VOR, but we can also look at some of the looking at some of the visual reference points that we have. Do you know what I mean? So I'm after learning. I'm in trouble. Yeah. 100%. My bad. Usually, my side of the pond is auto. Just not as on my own chat. Oh. Right. Do you remember that time Murphy wanted to fly in America? Oh, Jesus, then he said it was going to be a great idea. But to be fair, that's what it's all about, right? So that controller, he's after getting a minute now to himself, and he just said, by the way, he said, I never instructed you to switch to departure. I was trying to give you some deconflicting instructions, but I already jumped. So I'm at to learning now big style. So I just said, whoops, really sorry. My own chat have given me a terrible bashing, you know. And he came back and said, look, no problem, thanks for flying. That's how you learn, lads.
235 Romeo Mike, traffic at your 2 o'clock and 4 miles, a westbound 737 at 3,000.
Looking for the traffic, November 235 Romeo Mike. If he's in a 737, he's gone.
235 Romeo Mike, traffic, no factor, but caution Mike turbulence.
Roger, and we'll cover the wake turbulence, November 235 Romeo Mike. And before we know it, we're shook out of our seat. Do you know, I'm not seeing traffic very far. I wonder, is that like...
country 8413, maintain 210 knots.
Like, I should be able to see naughty known back there. Am I doing something wrong, lads? Is there like an LOD I have wrong? In me VATSIM settings? Is it in here now? Model matching, performance. Do not display aircraft beyond 100 miles. Maximum aircraft display.
Country 8413, turn right heading 210, vectors to final.
210 for final,
Right, we wanted 4,500 feet, please. $4,500, Murph. altitude. So here's an issue. Vertical speed. And drop me down to 4,500, please. That's kind of interesting. So there is a little bit of wind here blowing us off. You can see me at the same altitude. You should be... Oh, it's out the back left, is it? Yeah, I don't see an Audi. Are you in 20 or 24? That's odd, isn't it? Very odd, very odd. Alright. You're in 24? Yeah, I don't know why I can't see you, man. What's your speed? So, naughty, I'm doing 145 indicated. With a 2 knot headwind. So, 4,500 feet. We're on point to Martha's Vineyard. I can see it dead ahead. I'm watching yours going slower. Flight to Martha's...
8413, turn right heading 240.
Pete, take it easy. Current 135. Alright. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. Because... Well, I don't know, to be honest. Right, let's gear up our next frequency. Keep it on standby. So 118.2. Yes. So our next one is going to be 123,675. 123,675. He's going to be the next dude we're talking to, so we'll keep him on standby. And let's see what happens. You select 4,500, press Alt, it'll hold selected altitude, isn't it? Yeah, this did a bit of it. This did something strange there, but she's grand, right? She's grand. What I'm trying to figure out though, it's just a small technical issue. I can't see Naughty Gnome visually. Now, we can get into this and do some sort of messing here. So let me see. Bearing pointers, inset window, give me traffic. So here's me traffic, here's me ADSB. So there's Naughty Gnome right behind me there, look. So this is giving me a 12 nautical mile range. So I can see here, lads, this is just like the beauty of friggin' modern avionics. On my ADSB, I can see Naughty Gnome is my altitude behind me. There's another aircraft here 1,300 feet above us, and he's heading over that way. You know? Direct behind now. Yeah, I don't know why I can't see you, Naughty. And you know what it is? Oh, you betcha. If I zoom in, we'll see it. Like, that's going to be a bit of a problem, not gonna lie. I don't see it yet. There he is. So, like, the distance it's showing you... Wait, can we still see me? Naughty Gnome, what sort of superhero freaking eyesight do you have going on? What's it, jeez, right, he can see... He's there anyway. Oh wait, sure, I'm entirely appearing as a freaking airline for you. You know, sim LOD issue? That's what it kind of looks like. Small course correction here, Murphy. We want to intercept that VFR over Martha's Vineyard. Now, lads, remember what we were saying, right? So we're going over Martha's Vineyard now. And it's all just wonderful crack. We're then going to be heading out over that harbour. And we're going to be maintaining our altitude. But look, we can see there's other traffic in the area, right? And then we're going to be looking for the big, massive bridges. So we're still with Boston Approach. We're going to be talking to Providence Approach shortly. Yeah? How many friggin' Boston Approach frequencies are there, I wonder? That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Let's see what happens, right? So we know roughly when we get over Martha's Vineyard, we're above, remember that 2,600 feet, lads? So we're above his airspace, so I don't need to worry about it. If I was below that airspace, right, now I have a bit of a worry. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So, we just keep an eye out for traffic. That's all we can do.
Sun Country 8413, turn left heading 150.
So there's other people getting vectored around.
150,
There's 3 common Boston approaches in VATSIM, but they can be split even more events. That's awesome. Like, this is all new. Very, very new to me with VFR stuff. I did the Pilot Edge, the old S ratings, and they were, like, that was the first dip me toes into ATC I ever did. So, and like, they only cover the West. Do you know what I mean?
Sun Country 8413, reduce speed 190.
So there's Martha's Vineyard. It's going to be down the left hand now very shortly. There's 21 possible Boston approaches in total. Jesus, lads. They're doing a great job. Like, what do you think of it so far, lads? I mean, the main thing is they communicate. If you have issues, they're going to tell you. You know what I mean? Yeah, Naughty, I can see that picture there. That's nuts, man, isn't it? Yeah, that's interesting now. All you need to enter the
today, yeah, Skyhawk 112
two-way
Juliet
communication.
Hotel, 2,000 for 4,500.
Skyhawk 112 Juliet Hotel, Boston approach, hello, radar contact, proceed on course, altitude, your discretion.
On course, altitude, my discretion, 112 Juliet Hotel, thanks.
Sun Country 8413, you are 5 miles from UFTAC, turn left heading 090, descend and maintain 2000 until established, clear ILS, runway 6 approach, maintain 170 knots till 5 DME.
So the harbour is over here. This is our next VFR landmark.
clear to ILS, runway 6.
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
Do you know? Gun Ho Guy.
413, verify you're going
Thank you very much
maintain
indeed, man.
2000 until
Gibbo
established,
is
and
just
reduce speed
here
to
for the
170
sandwiches.
until
Good to
5
see you, mate. How
DME.
are you? Gibbo, I've already fecked up once. I didn't get given out to, but I kind of did. You missed it. You'd have been proud. Well done, Murphy. You got shot with that. Brilliant.
27010,000 to DME.
Love the content and a student pilot.
8413.
What's the point of doing the VATSIM WINGS? Is the certifications within VATSIM?
DME.
It's certification within the Boston Virtual ARTCC. And if anything, it just kind of confirms, gives you that little bit of extra confidence that you have an idea what you're doing. I mean, that's the whole point of this, is to get yourself comfortable and competent dealing with ATC. Highly recommend it, lads. And this is all for free.
That's a big 10-4, good buddy.
It's a big 10-4, good buddy. Stu, thank you very much indeed. The gifted sub going to High Priest Medalla. You ledge. Thank you very, very much indeed, man. And Gun Ho Guy in there as well. Thank you very, very much, lads. Really do appreciate it. Right. Is this a free plane? No. No, it's not. The Sydney controller. This, although it's well priced, the Gabrielle or the Gabriel, isn't it savage? It's a real world aircraft. They're brand new. Very similar to what you'd expect a fighter to do. I mean, it has the look of a fighter trainer, but it's actually designed for general aviation VFR flights. It's designed for training, and it's a VFR capable aircraft. Now we're just going to kind of meander down here to our left a little bit. We're maintaining 4,500. We should have a gnome that's very naughty out our back here somewhere. I just can't see him on the range thing. So I need to do something with my sim settings, I think. But anyway, we're grand, right? I'm proud of you. Thanks, Gibbo. Tell me, did you go red or redder? Very red. Very red. You know. Now, 118 decimal, or was it? 1180. Com 2, 1180, 1180. Let's transfer. Right? And can I monitor that divil? 1180, channel 2. Com radios. More options. I should be able to.
Sun Country 8413, wind 06013, gust 20, runway 6, clear to land.
Runway 6 clear to land, 8413.
Back. Com 2, standby frequency, transfer. 1180.
Number 235 Romeo Mike, contact Providence approach now 123.675.
Over to Providence on 123.675 for November 235 Romeo Mike. Thanks so much. Thank you very much indeed. You just started the hype train. You're absolutely nuts. Providence approach, November 235 Romeo Mike, 4,500. VFR to Quonset on wings 2.
November 235 Romeo Mike, Providence approach, the Quonset altimeter 2972.
2972, November 235 Romeo Mike. Oh, Jesus. PhD, Bo, thank you very much indeed. It's your new go-to for VFR, Cyrus? Yeah, Cyrus, me too, man. It's an awesome plane. I'm loving this machine. Now, how come I can't monitor? How do we do this now? I should be able to monitor that divil in there. Why can't I check and do that? Now, we're probably not in range, but... Shut says, do you have your air traffic and graphics settings set to ultra? Yeah. Yeah, should have. Let's see what happens.
Providence approach, hello, November 301 Bravo, 4,500.
There's that harbour
November
look.
301 Bravo, Providence approach, hello, altimeter 2972.
Brilliant.
Altimeter 2972 for November 301 Bravo.
This is really good. No, you know, you're playing a stormer back there. Right, small little course corrections. Eyes out the window because, lads, we're looking for very big bridges. Huge bridges. Do you know? Isn't it a pretty machine, this, isn't it? What do you think of it, lads? Like, just ideal for training. You know, it's not going... Like, it's very forgiving. It flies super well. It's very stable. And it's just different looking, isn't it?
Hello there.
Timothy, thank you very much indeed for the sub. Welcome aboard.
Cat 315 advise you have the weather and NOTAMs at Wesley State and say approach request.
Cat 315 is the weather and NOTAMs request correction localizer runway 7.
315 roger.
Yeah, the cows aircraft are excellent. The DA-40, excellent airplane again, because it's the canopy, right? You have so much visibility. With the DA-40, I'm after bashing me heel. Jesus! It was sore and I tried to ignore it, but it's not. I can't ignore it. Where was I? I was over here, look. Yeah, the DA-40 is ideal. DA-42 as well. A lot more power. And, okay, you have a bit of kind of vision blocked with the engines, but it's a super plane. Super duper. Right, we're doing actually fairly nicely here, lads. Again, keep a look at our little ADS-B. 12 nautical miles. We just have 90 known behind us. We can zoom out a bit more. 24 miles. We have an aircraft 1,500 feet below us. He's 24 miles out. We might get a traffic advisory on him. Unlikely. Unlikely. I'll keep it on 12 miles. We have our synthetic vision here if we need it. Now we're just eyes out the window because we're looking for these bridges. Drumman, welcome in. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'll need to just double check me VATSIM stuff, but like, lads, it is exciting, isn't it? I mean, Jesus, of all the work that was done with the VFR and IFR stuff flying in Ireland, to have the option then to go stateside, this is phenomenal. It's like, this is going to lead to events like Cross the Pond and, you know, all that stuff. Did my first flight with the trusty PA-24. Yes, Angry Lou. Yes. You can't bait the pipers. And what's really nice about all of this, this is where we're heading for Flight Sim Expo. So getting familiar with the airspace now, it's going to make it like so much fun when we're there in a couple of weeks. The action in Two-Tone Murphy action figure is that he bashed its heel on the man cave playset, sold separately. Brilliant. All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look. I don't see anything yet. I'll be there very soon, I suspect. Now let's just double check, because I can see that we have tower is up and running. 126350. 126350. So we have the Quonset tower. That's now up and running. So it looks like, lads, I got it. Like a round of applause. Pints of Guinness emotes into the chat for the Boston Virtual ARTCC. They have staffed up this entire region. And like, this is before their dinner time, right? Thank you very, very much indeed, lads. Really, really appreciate you taking the time out. I'm like, the hope here is we're going to encourage more folks to fly in this region. That's what it's all about. Go flying. Do you know what I mean? Jesus, we had ground, we had tower, we had 2 approach controllers, we have Boston Center is online, and we also have then Quonset Tower. Like, amazing effort by them. It's awesome, isn't it? And how kind of true it is to real world flying. I mean, the States, it's just infinitely busier. Like, it's so incredibly busier. You know? Goose says, is there still image with the LOD? Yeah, I don't really know. Kinda, sorta, nearly. You know, we'll see how it goes. It's dinner time now for them, yeah? A great bunch of lads. Yeah, a great bunch of lads. Dougal said, did an IFR flight out of Boston a while ago. The controllers are just awesome. They really are. They're bang on. Like, you couldn't have asked for more. Like, it's incredible. I do love the lads in Boston. Always had some fantastic ATC with flying rotations on long hauls into K-Boss as Grizzle. Yeah, man, it's awesome. You've lost visual with me now. So you're at I'm at your 2 o'clock, Noddy. Same altitude, probably 3 miles. Yeah, 3 miles, mate. ADSB should be good here. Just watch your spacing when we're coming into land, because that'll make it all terribly interesting. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's friggin' awesome. So we're tracking the right way. We're looking for big bridges now, which should appear. Hopefully they're modelled in the sim. There's a bridge here, look. Right? Doesn't look like the real McCoy, but that is a bridge, right? And then there's one over the far side. If there's photogrammetry here, we should see it, right? The IL2P, welcome aboard, man. Thank you very much indeed for the Prime subscription. Cheers, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got you nice and slow for me. Sweet. Okay, so here's the bridge starting to come. It's LOD. So let's just see what happens here, right? Now, there is another VFR landmark. That's this little airport, because you can see the VFR flag. That there is the Newport State Airport. All right. We're nowhere near him. We're not in his airspace at all. So let's see if we can find a couple of things. So we should have the pier. There's a pier down here. There's that lake. That's another visual reference point. Here's our first bridge. So this is our bridge, and then we got another bridge over the far side. Now I need to get ATIS here. How does one get the ATIS without tuning into ATIS? Let's have a look. Because what's the active runway? ATC, ATIS. It says ATIS not available. ATIS should be 118000. 118.2.
November 5, Romeo Mike, contact Quonset Tower 126.35, take care.
Over to 126.35 for November 235 Romeo Mike, thanks very much. 126.350, 12635, enter. 12635, transfer. 12635. Quonset Tower, November 235 Romeo Mike, inbound for a full stop landing at 4,500.
Delta 235 Romeo Mike, Quonset Tower, g'day, information Golf, current altimeter 2932, correction 72, report at 3 mile right base runway 5.
Roger the ATIS and report a 3 mile left base for runway 5 for November 235 Romeo Mike.
November 235 Romeo Mike, just confirm 3 mile right base runway 5.
Roger, 3 mile right base runway 5 for 235 Romeo Mike. Autopilot off, drop her down, Murph. Easy. 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 So 3 miles he wants us at. In this way a bit. And we'll start dropping down. There's runway 5 ahead of us. Alright, watch your power. Nice and slow, Murphy, nice and slow. Rico flight, so I'm using Navigraph, but also you can use SkyVector. Once you can see the sectional charts, you're laughing. So we're over the Jamestown Bridge now. There she be. So once we're roughly 3 miles, we'll give him a quick shout. It's right base, so we'll enter right base. Runway 5. Runway 5 is going to appear on the right hand side. And we'll just get ourselves down. We want about the pattern altitude once we get in here, yeah? Speed is looking good. 2,600 feet. Easy now. We're not far off it. We're nearly there.
Quonset Tower, hello, 5, November 301 Bravo for a full stop landing.
November 301 Bravo, Quonset Tower, good evening. Information Golf, current altimeter 270, report a 3 mile final, runway 5.
We have information Golf and traffic in sight for November 301 Bravo.
November 301 Bravo, negative, report a 3 mile final, runway 5.
Report 3 mile final for runway 5 for November 301 Bravo.
And November 235 Romeo Mike, 3 mile right base, runway 5.
November 235 Romeo Mike, the wind 06011, runway 5, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, runway 5 for November 235 Romeo Mike. And just to confirm, 5 Romeo Mike will be a full stop landing.
Affirmative, runway 5, clear for the option.
Clear for the option, 5 Romeo Mike. Right. Imagine now that's not the right runway and I make a complete and utter balls of this. He'd be shunned from the internet, never allowed to return again. Jeez, it's very narrow. Bloody hell. Flaps, we're going to need them, Toto. What does cleared for the option mean? It basically means you're cleared to do what it is you want to do, be it a full stop landing, a touch and go, a stop and go. You're cleared for your option. You're cleared though. They're basically saying, ramble in, you're grand. Right, gear down, prop full, mixture rich, lights on, flaps full. Easy now, Jemima. Don't make a mess, Murphy. Grand. Totally fine, nothing to worry about at all. It's not as narrow as it looked, as she said to the bishop. Right, easy now. We're looking good now, lads. We're looking good. 'Tis looking beautiful. We don't want stutters, please.
Dreamy, sleepy, nighty, snoozy, snooze.
Or sound effects. Cyrus! Jesus. Watch your speed. Easy. The power is to idle. Hold the nose. Jeez, we're going to use all this runway, lads. Get down, you devil. Touchdown. Easy now. Right, we have to cross the other runway, but it's grand. We have landing clearance, so I'm not too perturbed. I'm not too perturbed. We just have like a friggin' journey.
So the 235 Romeo Mike, welcome to Quonset, all the way around the end. Backtrack runway 23, make a right turn Alpha. cross runway 34 on runway 23.
All the way around, backtracking on 23. And can you say again for 5 Romeo Mike?
Yeah, 5 Romeo Mike, backtrack runway 23, approach to cross runway 34 on runway 23, exit right Alpha to the ramp.
Backtrack runway 23, crossing runway 34 from runway 23, and we'll exit at Alpha into the parking area for 5 Romeo Mike.
Very done, thanks.
And back the way we go.
November 301 Bravo, make 1 right 360 to rejoin final runway 5.
Sorry, Naughty, I made the balls for
1
you.
right 360 to join for runway 5 for November 301 Bravo.
The charts here are actually fairly crap. Hang on. Charts, taxi, airport info, yes. Easy now. So we cross the runway and then a right after the runway. Get the speed up and help Naughty Gnome out. Easy now. 'Tis alright, lads. There's nothing to worry about here, I tell you. Cross the runway and then hard right turn and then into the parking area. All should be well. That's Bravo. No one Bravo. That's... that Alpha? Says you. It is now. All right.
Number 235 from me, Mike. Congrats on your wings, VFR 2.
Thank you very much indeed for November 235 Romeo Mike. Massive shout out to all the controllers helping us out there. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely no problem. Have a good night.
Sweet.
Number 301 Bravo, disregard the 3 mile call runway 5, cleared for the option the wind 060 at 11.
I immediately legged it off the runway,
The
Naughty.
option for November 301 Bravo, intention is full stop landing.
APAM runway 5, cleared for the option the wind 060 at 11.
Runway 5, November, cleared to the option, November 301 Bravo.
Do you remember the time when it nearly crashed? That's a tough taxi clearance while moving, right? Especially if you're not familiar with the airport. So I couldn't really anticipate what he was asking me to do, but you'll figure it out, you know what I mean? Right. We're finished with them. Stand by. Stop her there now, meow flower. Parking brake on. And we shall... lights off, pumps off, strobe should have been off already. Heater heat coming off. Kill the mags. Alright. Now, where's Naughty? Has he landed? There he is! I see a wild gnome of Naughty. Get in there, you devil, ya. Ah, brilliant. Tokyo drifting off the taxiway. Oops! Yeah, it could have happened to anyone, I'd say. Yeah, that could have happened to anyone. Jesus, Naughty Gnome, no pressure now, lad. Jesus, the whole parish is here watching you. Huh? Be grand. Do. Beautiful. 'Tis looking absolutely gorgeous now, huh? Look at the state of this. Stunning. Touchdown! Jesus, that was pretty. Now, on the anchors before you cross the runway and don't do a Murphy on it. He has it absolutely nailed. Ah, yes, we turn at Alpha. Oops. Look at that. Brilliant. Brilliant. Off the runway. No mess at all.
301 Bravo, welcome to Quonset Alpha to the ramp.
Alpha to the ramp. Brilliant. Well, that was a lot of fun. Do we still have Adam airborne? I think we do. Where is he? Oh, he's a while back yet. He was taking his time now. He's just about to be...
Alpha to the ramp for November 301 Bravo.
He's now talking...
November 301 Bravo, congrats on your wings VFR 2.
Thank you very much, and thanks for all your ATC and for everyone's today.
No problem.
Well done, Naughty Gnome! You had to wait a couple to get out of the pattern before it could line up. Ah, right, okay. So we'll keep an eye on Adam coming in here now in a moment. Runway 5 is what he's going for. Now again, in Europe you'd be saying it's runway 05, right? But we'll keep the camera here, but let's just kind of do a quick recap, lads, of what we've covered, right? So we've completed Wings flights 1 and 2, all right? I've learned something very important on this flight. Remember I told you, you'll always learn something new. So what I learned on this flight, I was given a departure frequency during my initial clearance, yeah? So yeah, that's grand, thanks very much. The best of luck to you. So after I departed, I took off and I was following the instruction, as in, you know, left downwind, you know, or yeah, it was left downwind departure. Anyway, what happened then, instead of me waiting for the controller to give me the handover to say, okay, now you can contact departure, I immediately jumped. That's something you would do quite a bit in Europe. It's an automatic handover. At most of the airports I'd fly in and out of, it's usually an automatic handover. And I was thinking in my head, should I ask him? And I doubted myself and I just didn't ask him. So I've learned, ask. If you're not sure, ask the question. Never assume. Assumption makes an ass out of you and me. Assume. See what I did, right? Anyway, so I've learned that, and I'm delighted I learned that, and I'm delighted that you got to see it as well. So hopefully now you won't make that mistake. I should have stayed with the tower frequency until they said, all right, now you go to departure. Now, to be fair, tower didn't give out. He just said, hey, this is what went wrong. The approach controller didn't give out. He dealt with it. Okay, yeah, head this way. And that straight away created some conflict for them, because they had to give me traffic advisories. They did the same to Naughty Gnome. So that threw a curveball into them completely. They handled it very, very well. But it's a learning thing. I'll take it on board and we learn from the next one, right? And that's important. It's all about learning, lads. So the next couple of flights, these are where I want you guys to kind of, you know, let's move ahead with these, all right? VFR 3 and 4, I'm not probably going to do these next Monday. I'm probably going to do these maybe during the week if I have time. I'll see how we go or read through them. Entering a Class B and exiting a Class B is going to be important, all right? So if you have a look at these flights, we might do something on Discord. But anyway, this one here is how you interpret different airspace classifications on sectional charts is essential. And we were doing that there now tonight, right? So we're going to be saying Providence approach, you know, requesting transition through the Class Charlie airspace. So you want, basically, we want to know, how do we ask permission to enter into these friggin' airspaces that we're kind of half terrified of? So we know we have to do the same at a Class Charlie. We definitely got to do it at a Class Bravo. And you can see that outer line, like the Class Bravo is a huge area. The reason why it's such a big area, lads, is because the air traffic is so busy. And see all of these circular lines, remember, just think of that upside down wedding cake. Because the closer you are to the airport, the lower the surface, the lower altitude is inside controlled airspace. The further out, well, it's tiers and levels, yeah? It goes back to me famous Bob Ross drawn. But certainly, how do we enter and how do we exit? Try and catch up with that if you can during the week, right? Going over the taxi chart of your arrival airport beforehand, yeah, 100%. 100% Colonel Ford. So what I did here very quickly in the background, I opened up the chart. Because the instruction I got...
Tower, good evening, November 112 Juliet Hotel, 3500.
The instruction I got...
112 Juliet Hotel, Quonset Tower, good evening, information Golf, current altimeter 2972, report a 3-mile right base runway 5.
We'll pick up Golf 2972, we'll enter a 3-mile right base for runway 05, 112 Juliet Hotel.
Sweet. So he said you got to taxi all the way around. So here's the actual airport chart. And if you look at that versus, right, let's close that chart. I zoomed in here looking at the airport and see these lines. I'm thinking, crap, does he mean I got to taxi all the way around this way or all the way around that way? I got completely confused. So what I did, I said, no, right, open up the charts, back Murphy, open up the charts, and then show me the taxi layout. Ah, okay, so he's saying, right, the instruction was back taxi runway 23, cross runway 34, and then turn right on Alpha into parking. Now it sounds kind of, you know, confusing. It really isn't. Back taxi, it's just you're taxiing on an active runway, but you're back taxiing, you're going the opposite direction. You're okay to cross another active runway, because bearing in mind, lads, other aircraft could be using these runways, yeah? And the reason being is runway 5 and 23 or 23, that's only a 4,000 foot runway, ideal for general aviation. Look at 34 and 16, that's a 7,500 foot runway. That'll take in friggin' airliners, yeah? So that's why he said, listen, we're clear to pass it, and then jump off at Alpha. Alpha starts here and she runs up this way. You can see it here. More Bob Ross for you. That's Alpha. So we were to go this way and then that way to cross. So that's what the instruction was. But it's because I didn't, as Colonel Fork rightfully said, you got to review this stuff before you go there. Plan hard, fly easy. Had I spent the 2 or 3 minutes to look at this airport, to actually get the ATIS, do you know what I mean? So you can see where you can make life very tough on yourself, and then all of a sudden you're on the back foot trying to keep control of things. And you can imagine if all of these things, you were trying to do the nav, you're trying to do the voice procedure, you're trying to do all of that, and you might be in an aircraft you are not 100% comfortable and proficient with. All of a sudden the airplane is doing something you don't want it to do. You're just going to have a very bad experience, and it's enough for most people throwing the towel. I'm not doing this again. So, you know, you write down everything. You can't see it because it's nearly as white as me, but you write down as much information as you can. I did quite a bit at the start. I was familiar with who I was going to be talking to. You try and stay ahead of the game. So far as, well, I know I'm going to talk to this controller, then we're going to talk to that controller, and then we're going to be handed over once again. Now, at the time, we didn't have the tower active at this facility. When we left Nantucket, this tower wasn't operational, so I was expecting to get a landing clearance from, you know, approach or whatever. The tower controller came online. And that's what's critical with VATSIM. Now, you can see all of the controllers coming online.
I'm Skyhawk 112 Juliet Hotel, 3 mile right base.
112 Juliet Hotel, runway 5, clear for the option, the wind 060 at 11.
Runway 5, clear for the option, 112 Juliet Hotel.
So that's Adam coming in. Just try and spend as much time planning. And with VATSIM, you'll see all the different frequencies when they light up. You can see it on Navigraph. You can also see it on the VATSIM radar. So these are VATSIM aircraft flying in this facility at the moment. There's 1 or 2 here, but they also have aircraft down here. And like the entire Boston region, Boston set, like there's plenty of aircraft there. It's the old story. If you turn the gadget on, you're going to get people flying in there. You know what I mean? So the question there from Grand Daniel, do you recommend AI ATC before moving to VATSIM? Yes. And the reason why, lads, if you're not comfortable talking to real life controllers, the AI ATC is good enough to at least prepare you for the multitasking that's going to be required. You're going to be doing your flight planning. You're going to be writing down your frequencies. You're going to be expecting to be talking or listening to some sort of an ATC presence. You can absolutely get that experience by using AI ATC. It's going to prepare you, get you used to multitasking. Aviate, navigate, communicate. You know, and then aviate. But right, and that's real world pilot speak. So it's doing the things. It is doing the right stuff. It's teaching you vital skills on how to multi-fly or multitask, you know. Brief before the flight, then brief each segment of the flight. Yes, that's what needs to be done. This one, like navigation is figuring out where you are. We did enough navigation tonight to find there was a VOR, there was a harbour, there were bridges, you know, there was a lake, there was an airport. So the navigation was very straightforward. When it comes to us, in terms of our management of the flight, as Colonel Fork says, what are we doing? Where are we doing it? Instead of just saying, well, here's our route, we should be saying, well, you know, what are we doing at each of these locations? And this is where the entire process makes it so much easier when you have a group of people working together doing the same flight. You have time for that, and that's what our Discord is all about. In particular, our Thursday night flights with the lads on VATSIM, because they're going to chat about things. Oh, you want to watch this? This guy will talk about, or you know what I mean? Go on, Adam, you devil! Oh, Jesus, look at that. At is absolutely buttering the bread there. Look at the state of it. You're representing the, even Jesus, then all sorts of jumping up and down. Kangaroo petrol. That was a beautiful landing, wasn't it? Kerry Gold, lads. Well done, Adam. You absolute ledge. Jesus, he absolutely nailed that. Look where he's getting off the runway as well. Hi, you bleeding show off.
November 112 Juliet Hotel, welcome to Quonset Alpha Whiskey to the ramp. Good night.
Alpha Whiskey to the ramp, thanks, 112 Juliet Hotel.
Didn't he do well? That was brilliant. But it's all about try and grab your buddy or a couple of buddies and say, hey, do you know what? Let's try this flight again. You can use the likes of SayIntentions.
Aircraft Quonset State Tower is now closed. Contact Providence approach 123.67 for further. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks so much. Brilliant. That's amazing community support. They kept the whole thing up and running just for us. I love that. What a great bunch of lads. Great bunch of lads. Right, so I'll disconnect from the network here, but as I said, this lesson, all these lessons, they're free to do. You can do them at your own time. If you're not comfortable just yet jumping onto VATSIM, look back through this video. You're going to pick up stuff, right? You might have to look at my mug, but you'll pick up stuff. If you have SayIntentions, try it on SayIntentions. If you have the other one, try it on the other one. If you beyond ATC, it doesn't matter. It's all about trying to simulate what's going to happen next. If you can get that simulation of the multitasking, communicating, navigating, aviating, if you can do all of this, you're learning skills, lads. And you can only learn it by doing it. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, that was an incredible experience tonight with all the ATC that we got. We started off doing our pattern work, then we ended up doing a small little cross-country flight, and that wasn't like a half an hour flight, 40 minutes in a small GA plane. Right? When you're flying IF4, it's actually easier because it's very linear. You have a list of waypoints. You have altitudes. You have a flight plan. ATC are going to tell you what to do. I need you here at this altitude, at that speed. When you're VFR, in particular with general aviation aircraft, you don't have that luxury. It's up to you to figure stuff out. So I'm going to be flying at around 4,500. We could have changed that altitude. We don't really need to tell them. It's good that we tell them because now they know what we're doing, right? But we don't have to tell them. Yeah, play around. You know, we have our flight plan, but sure, a flight plan is only a plan. Plan never survives contact, you know, when it starts, you know. You can always follow the lessons offline, and when you feel ready, jump onto VATSIM and when you see the required ATC online and try to pass the flight. Absolutely. If you're interested in doing the practical side, follow the WINGS course from the Boston Virtual ARTCC. Like it's brilliant, and any skill level can start. If you need the experience or you want the extra bit of experience, well, that's what we're here for. If you're stuck on anything, if you want to learn more, if you just want to try it in a very safe environment, well, that's what we're here for. You know what I mean? And it's a great way to experience and enhance your hobby, which is flight sim. We'll always remember. Do you remember the time that feckin' Egypt Murphy automatically handed himself over to... Right, do you know? But like, this is the sort of stuff, and you will have very memorable flights. It's just class, lads. It's deadly. It's brilliant. Do you know? But anyway, I'll get cracking on next week's lesson. I'll do a cheat sheet for tonight's lesson as well. I'll pop them all up on Discord. I don't know. Will I do I might do the class. Yeah, they're probably important not to skip. Like, I don't think, lads, I'm not going to do this course from flight 1 to flight 30. It's going to take me too long. That's going to take 30 weeks, so we're not doing that. However, I think we'll continue on with the VFR stuff. And that's going to completely accelerate us when we're doing the IFR stuff. Yeah? Because I'll let you guys figure out VOR navigation, you know, tech routes. SIDS and stars, we'll look into them, of course. Non-precision, you know, RNAVs, you're going to figure that stuff out yourselves. VOR approaches using your GPS. Like, all of that stuff we can do. But I think for the VFR stuff, because if you learn it from this setup, you know, when you're learning the airspaces and the all the talking and the phraseology at this level, it just carries on into IFR. IFR is an easier type of flying. It just is. The aircraft is a lot more complex, but the ATC element is not as heavy. It'll be busier, but again, you're stuck to your flight plan. You're following waypoints. The autopilot is there unless you want to hand fly it. But you have all these options. Your VFR, you're on the ticket. It's you. So yeah, maybe next week we'll jump at VFR 3 and 4, and then we'll do another cross country. And then the Boston Class B helicopter route, it's not actually a helicopter route. You can fly it in a fixed wing. That's nuts because you're actually going to be flying in through a published transition straight through the Bravo airspace, which is very complicated. You're flying right through Boston. It's awesome. Do you know? Lieutenant Bob, thank you very much indeed. It's an easier type of flying altogether. Murph, are VODs sub only on your channel? Not at all, not at all. Over on YouTube, you're going to see all the VODs are saved to YouTube. So we stream on Twitch and YouTube, so they're all there, all of them. Plan to get even the other stuff that we've done in the past, right? Go to our website, twotonemurphy.com. Go to the Learn ATC. All the VFR stuff that we did in Ireland, all the links to the videos are there, lads. Right, Gibble made all the thumbnails. He's a friggin' genius. Then we did the IFR stuff. Come back one. Then we did the IFR series, and again, you click on ISO or the IFR, all the videos are there. Yeah. Right. And now the ones that we're currently doing for the conversion course, they've just started. I'll make a playlist. We'll put them all in there together. The ground school document. This is your friend. This is going to give you information on the whole shebang, lads. The whole shebang. All the information, all the theory is there. All of it. Right? If you find any mistakes, let me know. But it's been a lot of work has gone into this. So, yeah. Tons and tons and tons of information in this, lads. Do you know what I mean? Clem, the A350 or the A350 pilot. Adam Controls, thank you for the gifted sub too, Clem. The absolute ledge. Very, very kind. Does the Black Square Duke work in 24? Yeah, that works. Right, lads, that's the story. I want to thank you all so very much tonight. A massive shout out to all the staff at Boston Virtual ARTCC. What a tremendous effort that they gave us tonight, and it just a great bunch of lads to go flying with. So thank you very, very much indeed. For everyone else, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, or at least answered some of the questions that you might have had. And for everyone else who was tagging along, thank you so very much indeed, lads. I love this. I love hanging out with you. It's always great fun. So we're back tomorrow, same time, 1900 Zulu, and we're going trucking. And some say Gibbo Ireland, his genius can disturb the time continuum, because I do believe certain things are going to be working here. Check out the owl outro there now, and sure, we'll see what happens. Until then, see you tomorrow. Where you can enjoy complimentary deluxe continental breakfasts daily with afternoon hors d'oeuvres and a fully stocked honour bar. Get up there. Complimentary hot and cold beverages throughout the day. Fairmount Gold combines personalised...
I'm sorry, did you just say hors d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres. Hors d'oeuvres. Oh no, I made a terrible mistake.